Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A very good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Thank you to everyone for listening live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, on Apple Music. Everyone for watching live on YouTube. For those listening to this on podcast, wherever you get your podcast. He's Tom Gazzola. I'm Iwanyk. Benny the Intern. Dash in the Park. All with you here. We're live at Century Casino, just off Fort Road. And the Celly's Sports Bar and Lounge, formerly known as Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, but it is Celly's Sports Bar and Lounge. There's an event that I will be taking part in a little bit later today for the Edmonton Elks. So the Hangout is and the Lock Shop is brought to you or coming to you from Celly's here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. How's everyone doing this fine morning?
I'm great. I'm good. It's an exciting week, obviously, for us here in Edmonton. So I'm ready to go. Wednesday can't come any sooner, so I'm good.
Hi, Dash. How are you?
Hi, Tom.
Good to see you.
Always good to see you.
I like the name that they rebranded with because I know Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge just rolls off the tip of the tongue. But talking to Renee, it sounds like everything good has come with the rebrand, so I'm very happy about that. It is a great spot. Anytime you come down here, highly recommend it. Great game day specials, great specials every day, and good to see Renee as well. She's just always in a great mood. So, no, it's good. Very, very happy, very excited for the week. It is weird waiting like all these days for the Cup Final to begin, and then as soon as it does, actually, it's gonna get crazy starting right now, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair way to describe it.
Starting this hangout.
Literally right now. Yeah.
Literally.
Look
we're
out.
about to throw down.
So. Yeah. Let's go.
Shots, please.
It's going to be a busy week here. As
I mean, it's a packed house, Benny. Why wouldn't we start doing shots? What is that like?
Oh, yeah. Monday at 9:07.
here?
Yeah.
we also have the Elks starting up on Saturday. Riverhawks start tomorrow. Stingers are in action. Just can this wind go away, please?
Yeah, it was
Preferably.
bad yesterday. I saw some stuff blowing off people's balconies.
It was bad on Saturday during
Yes,
like the
it was.
shows and stuff.
Yes, it was. That's right.
It was. I've seen it. There was a branch taken down not too far from our place
Really?
on Saturday night. Yeah, there's a big part of the tree that was just on the sidewalk.
Yikes.
It wasn't good. I just want this wind to go away.
Go away, wind.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Well, and like the extent that the wind is going, I don't need 50-kilometer gusts.
Yeah. Welcome to Lethbridge.
It's a mild wind if Trev was here. Oh, no, it's not that windy.
Pitcher Creek.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We got it. That was at this time last year. We got into it with him.
About the wind.
Because it was, I remember I really got into it with him. We went out after the Elks annual dinner,
Yes.
and Trev and I, we were having discussions about that we're getting a little heated. He just wouldn't believe that strong winds could happen in Edmonton.
Well, he's learning and has learned a lot in the 2 years he's been with us. So, progress.
Wind and heat make a tornado. Tornado Trev.
Tornado Trev.
Ooh. That's a new nickname for him.
Maybe.
And I will go back to like when it came to the wind conversation too. It was one of those as well where like I didn't want to say that we're windier than where he was from. But Edmonton can get windy, too. That's all it is. I'm not getting into that conversation.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into that one. Trev's going to start texting me and get all
here we
upset. The EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life's transitions. A Canadian storage provider by a Canadian. Go online to sentinel.ca to find convenient locations nearest you. I know Sentinel will be here later today. Cindy and Dean will be here a little bit later for the event that's going on with the Edmonton Elks. So will Murray McCourt.
Ah, yes.
We'll have to get him on the Hangout again at some point, but I know he's a little busy now with the golf season, so I don't know when we'll be able to get him on. For those that missed the VIP golf show yesterday, you can go catch it on our YouTube channels, wherever you get your podcast, or we'll be on the audio streams tomorrow night. Big Uke, after the Elks dinner, we got into it over the windy, not windy debate. Yeah, Big Uke was there. We really got into it. Yeah, you were part of that one, Uke, too. And weirdly enough, Uke and I were on the same side.
What isn't Uke a part of?
That's a good question.
Early contender for Nasty of the Year.
I was told of a chant that happened at a watch party for the Oilers where Jason and Andrea left, and there was a certain chant that was done about them listening to another individual in town.
Oh, no.
And
boy.
I just said,
Oh, gee.
that sounds like Big Uke would have started that. And they're like, yeah, I think Big Uke started that one.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about where, what you win.
Yeah.
That one was him too.
That's
that
him
one's him
too,
too.
MV Pauly.
Oh, God.
Paulie's better. That one.
Sam.
Well, why are you bringing that up?
I'm
Tommy's your guy.
Hey,
I thought you were on my team here.
justice for Tommy.
Thank
I'm
you.
all about it. I'm just giving Uke his flowers.
Yeah, he's a character. He's a good one.
I'm also glad Smitty the Welder's in the Nasty Chat with this question. What are the new promos for Play Alberta? Edmonton Sports Talk is proudly presented by Play Alberta. It is now June, so we've got some new promo codes to pass along. I just got to find where I moved those.
I know YEG 50 still works.
YEG 50 is still happening.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct. Deposit 5 or more and use the promo code YEG50, and you'll get a free $50 sports bet. We also have $50 promo codes for the casino, as well as $50 promo codes for the sports book. If you use promo code EST Casino when you deposit 20 or more, get a $50 casino code, or use EST Sports for a $20 deposit for a $50 free bet. Bet responsibly. But yeah, we've got EST Casino, EST Sports, and YEG 50 for you to use on Play Alberta for the month of June. Those are your promo codes with Edmonton Sports Talk. Jay will have his plays of the day coming up later today. I know the DGen Dens Eat Grandis parlay will be put up there. We have a lot going on there, so you can use one of those for those guys. Jay has his play of the day is still sitting there, I believe, up until today. But he's got the Oilers winning this series that's upcoming in the Stanley Cup Final in 6 games.
He's on a heater, isn't he? Or did that?
I don't know
streak
what happened on
broke?
Friday.
Okay, I didn't follow
Let me
up.
text Jay and see.
Yeah.
I know he picked Carolina to win that game when they finally broke the 0-12 streak.
Yep.
That was a tough pick.
That was a tough
I was
pick.
shaking my head in my car going,
Oh, Friday's play was the Oilers winning in 6, so we don't know what's going to happen with that one. So that's part of it.
got
So
it.
yeah, I think his heater's still going on.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
sizzling.
Let's transition out. It is Stanley Cup Final week. We are 2 days away from the Stanley Cup Final beginning. How is everyone feeling about the Edmonton Oilers post-weekend? Dash?
Well, as our friend Dave Jameson would say, that's kind of like the anaconda trying to digest the pig. Yeah, how are we feeling? I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better this year than I was last year. My fandom has maybe fallen off a little bit for the team. We can get into that another day, but as far as wanting these players to win and falling in love with these players, like there's nobody I want on this earth to win a Stanley Cup more than Connor McDavid. So I'll be cheering. Yeah, I'm excited. I think both teams are better. I think the matchup is incredibly intriguing, right down to what the results might be. Is it Connor starting the legacy, or the Panthers perhaps potentially mentioned in the breath of a dynasty forming? Tkachuk versus McDavid and Draisaitl and Kane again, except Kane actually gets to play against him. I'm super excited to see what Kane can do to Tkachuk in a finals, and if it replicates what he did to him when he was a Flame. Yeah, tons of variables, tons of things going on. I think the keys will be coming down to special teams. That penalty kill for Florida's doing extremely well. Edmonton's is now coming around. I think they're 9 of their last 10 they've killed. So if they can keep that up, goaltending is going to be key to watch. Yeah, it's a lot to digest.
Benny, how you feeling?
I feel good. I think they're gonna get done. I like this. This is the most confident I've seen. I just think Connor. I don't see Connor losing back-to-back finals. And I think Jack made a point yesterday. I was watching one of the videos that they do on Oilers Plus, but they Jack made a very good point that these are the 2 best teams and probably not even close. And Tkachuk's talked about that in interviews, how he thought they're the best team out of the East, and he said that their toughest competition last year in the playoffs was Edmonton, so he thought they would meet each other again in the final.
Said it to him in the handshake.
Yeah, exactly. So it's these are the 2 best teams left. So obviously this matchup's gonna be incredible. I can't wait to watch it. I'm having a hard time trying to think of like a better cup final. Obviously, we've had this cup final last year, but like Leon was banged up a little bit, and Connor, I think, was still dealing with something.
Yes.
And those guys seem to be a lot more healthier this year. Well, maybe not Connor after practice yesterday. We'll get into that. But yeah, no, they look confident, look healthy. It's going to be a great matchup. Like Dash said, I think both teams are better. They've really improved their teams, whether that's over the offseason or the deadline. So it should be a great matchup. I'm excited.
I think we're in for a battle. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just adding on to what Benny said. These are the two best teams in hockey because I think they're clearly the two best teams built for playoffs.
Yeah.
The regular season's one thing, but it's getting to the cup final, and these are the two teams most built, and they knew what it took to get back here.
What does the regular season even matter anymore?
I heard some guys say that once or twice on this show.
It's just a self-load managed 82 games to get yourself into a playoff berth, and then that's when the real season starts.
Yeah, and I think like both teams understood that because they sat a lot of guys near the end of the year.
They did,
because a lot of guys were nicked up. Like obviously we saw it here in Edmonton with Leon and Connor missing games and whatever. It seemed like the whole team was hurt, right? So they did a pretty good job of resting guys, and obviously it's paid off because look where they're at now. So.
Yep. I think that was the number one complaint going out the door when they did the interviews and the exit interviews. You guys have brought it up before, right? It was just nobody had enough in the tank.
Yeah.
They got them to Game 7, but they couldn't get over that last hump.
Yep.
One goal away, if you will, and look what the difference is. I truly believe this team has, there's the whole cliche out there, and we've heard the Oilers walking past the Islanders dressing room story a billion times. Ultimately, you got to learn how to lose, but I think part of learning how to lose is learning how to win. And I think not only have the Oilers now learned how to lose, I think they've figured out how to win. I think they've figured out when to put their foot on the gas, when they can take it off. They flirt with it too much, that's for sure. But
they haven't in the last two rounds.
Yeah.
I haven't felt like they've couldn't come back in a game yet.
Yep. Yeah. They do a very good job of
Not once.
Yeah, like Connor was saying, like it's been not boring, but a lot like just steady. Like the highs aren't too high and the lows aren't too low for this team, which is a sign of maturity. And I think last year we saw in that playoff run there was a lot of highs and a lot of lows. So,
Can I throw a hypothetical out there
Yep.
for your guys' thoughts? What was the score in the first LA game?
6-5.
6-5. What if the Oilers don't come back in that game? Are we still talking about the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Final?
You're saying like that's set.
They lose,
That's set
but
the-
they scored their goals, and everyone after that was like, okay, this team, like we said it at that time, that LA is always going to know, no matter what, this Oilers
that's
team's going to be
right,
able to score goals.
Yeah.
If the Oilers don't come back in that game and it ends 4-0 or whatever it was at that time, do we talk about the Oilers going off? Or did that in itself just always give the Oilers from the very first game, even though they lost, that belief of we can do this?
I think there's an argument to be made for that.
Yeah.
It was funny because I remember that post game. We were at BP Westgate, and we see the comeback. Everybody's pumped up, and like a minute later, Deneau scores that flutter puck goal, and people were bummed out and down. And I think I looked at, I can't remember if it was Belzy that was there with me, but I was like, something about that didn't make me feel too bad. I think they're going to be okay. And then they lose game
Get
two,
pumped
and,
game
and
two.
people were,
That was
were
bad.
upset and worried. But it even goes back to like what Dusty said about game one against Dallas where they lost. And he's like, the Oilers are up in this series 0-1 or 0-1. And I was like, that's funny. And, I understand where you're coming from. And I think that feeling probably could have been culminated from that game one comeback loss that you're talking about, Matty. So I think that's part of the path and understanding who they are this postseason, because not every team is the same year to year. But that's an interesting point because we always look at game 3 when Jim Hiller had that timeout. They always scored the 2 goals in 10 seconds, and away they went. And then, of course, Quentin Byfield not getting the puck out. But maybe the essence of where it all came from was game 1, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
You were shaking your head before.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with it whatsoever.
Okay.
I think ultimately, if you're going to win a cup, there's going to be 10, 15 things that go your way throughout a cup run that don't normally. It's the puck luck or the bounces or what have you. I think if that was truly some sort of key turning point mentally or something for that team, Maddie, that you're, alluding to maybe boosting the confidence temporarily or getting them going, if you will, then it would have done something for them in game 2.
Yeah.
I think they would have taken that right there and went, oh, okay, we can do this, and game 2 wouldn't have been how it is. Ultimately, I think if it's part of anything, I would give it the element of being part of a flipping the switch.
Yeah.
Flipping the switch. They had to flip this switch everybody talked about.
And they did it.
And they did it, absolutely, Tommy. But to Benny's point, they sat the last 10 games of the season out.
True.
And they had to get that chemistry, momentum, everything, kind of new players, the Fredericks, the Canes, everybody back into the lineup and figure it all out and figure it out quick. Saying that something like that would have been, some key turning point, I don't buy that. If there was a key turning point, it's the Hiller call.
Yeah.
Because that got the power play going, in my opinion. And once the power play got going, I feel like they really started scoring game in, game out. Then the 5-on-5 play followed behind, and it hasn't stopped.
Yeah. Well, okay. Going back to that first game, when they came back, I think it instilled the belief that it's like, oh, yeah, this is still the LA Kings. We're still better than them. We're still going to beat them. I think that whole mentality.
I think they knew that before, Tommy. I think it was more for the fans than it was for the players.
But I think the
go
fans
lose-
freaked out more than the players did. I think
If
it
they go
was just a
lose that
flex.
first game, maybe they sit there and there's a little, is this going to be different?
There's
Yeah.
no way they weren't losing that first game.
Right, but then the matter that it could have been, like if it was 4-0, maybe just there's a slight like, are we going to be able to flick that switch, turn it on, get going? But the fact that they were able to score and tie it, they went, okay, we lost this game, but we've got this.
I wonder if they lose 4-0 in game 1, do they win game 2? Because that was like their wake up call.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they got pumped game 1, they go, oh boy, maybe these aren't the same Kings that we're used to playing. Okay, like let's turn it on here. But because maybe they came back, they go, oh, okay, guys, as long as we show up for game 2, we should have this series. And then,
Really good point.
And then they're asleep at the wheel.
I'll throw this in there as well. You're Jim Hiller. You have a big lead in game 1, and you blow it. Barely come out of there with the win. Does that start to set in that, we might not be as good as we think we are? And then that might be the beginning of his panic.
Well,
and where things got in his head, and he was rattled because he was out-coached severely, obviously, and he was his own worst enemy at times.
I can't speculate what Jim Hiller was thinking.
He prefers James in the offseason.
All right. I can't predict there. I'm not inside the head of one James Hiller, but
There you go.
if that's the case, Tommy, then I'm sure that is part of it, absolutely. Because, if that's where he was like, oh boy, maybe we're not good enough, and the doubt starts setting in, and then he stops playing his 5-6D, and then he stops playing his fourth line, and then he set himself up for disaster. Yeah, well, sure, maybe.
I think there's some element to it. Anyway, but I mean, a million things can happen. I mean, if Quentin Byfield chipped the puck out for crying out loud, we're not even here.
Done. No.
That's right.
The wild though, it's like I don't have that moment of the Vegas Golden Knights series. I don't have that moment of the Dallas Stars series.
Yeah.
What if they don't?
There's not that turning point that I have of those series.
had them on the
It's
ropes.
all the LA series.
Because that was the series that had the conflict. That was the series that had the doubt.
Yeah.
And it's the series that, like, the team with the challenge the Oilers the best.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, I sit there a little bit and go, if you're Ken Holland, how many big changes do you actually need?
I swear. With the Kings, like 2.
I brought it up last week. I was like, if the Oilers go and beat Dallas in 5, which they do, like, if you're a Kings, like, if you're in their head office, like, how bad do you really feel about your team if you took the Oilers to 6 and they went and they go pump Vegas in 5 and Dallas in 5? Like, and obviously, like, you talk to the reporters there, and it's like they still have their doubts about their team. But I don't know. Like, they gave Edmonton a good fight. I would also say, though, it's like I think it's a little bit unfair to Vegas and Dallas because it's like I think it's a snowball effect with Edmonton and their confidence. It had to get built up with LA, and they obviously they caught a couple breaks, but once they got their confidence going, it's a train going downhill, right? Like it's just so hard to stop them, I think. So that's what I think led to Vegas and Dallas ending so early compared to what I think everyone was predicting. So
12-2 since that 0-2 start.
Yeah.
That's
Wild.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the one loss to Vegas included a weird, like, a defensive breakdown at the end of the game where they stopped playing, and the other one was a breakdown in the third period.
Yeah.
5 minutes and 26 seconds in that third period against Dallas.
Yeah.
Where Dallas struck a couple of times, and that was night-night.
I was back to the coaching point. I think that's not the only coach that that Chris Knobloch has outcoached and has showed panic from the other side.
Yeah.
Pete DeBoer's pull with Jake Onger last week. Last week I expressed it last show. Not a fan of it at all. I think that was a sign of panic.
We had Pegnato on Hello Hockey on Saturday. We're like, how do you even come back if you're Pete DeBoer? And Pegs was like, ugh.
It's a tough relationship between those two next
Yeah.
year, right?
Ottinger's gonna outlast him. So
Well, he has to.
Your franchise goalie is the guy that got you there, and then you're gonna pull right away. And I mean, even Ottinger said in his exit interviews, that was embarrassing. It looked embarrassing.
Well, DeBoer afterwards, the next day or 2 days later,
Just
when he
doubling
said,
down.
well, he said, I think we're good. But he also said he hadn't talked to him yet. Jake and I know that we have a good relationship and all that. And it was like, yeah, but I haven't spoken to him yet.
That's like going out with the boys till 4 a.m, having too many beer, your wife not talking to you for 5 days, and you going, I mean, we haven't talked yet, but we're good.
We're all right. Yeah. Well, no issues.
You're not good.
Fine.
You're
We're
not.
fine.
You're in deep.
I've been sleeping on the couch in the basement for all 5 of those days, but I think we're okay.
And when we get back to the playoffs next year, he'll know I trust him.
Totally.
He'll know that I believe in him.
Right.
Yeah, if we meet these Oilers teaming next year in the playoffs, he'll know I'm confident in him completely.
Two defensive breakdowns. You're not getting pulled next time. No way.
No.
No, not after, especially after you say the Oilers have his number.
That's
going to go well for next
crazy.
year.
That's just crazy to admit that.
That's why I think he's not coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Ottinger's career stats. Look at his playoff career stats, and then compare those to what he's done against the Oilers. It's a complete reversal.
I would also say that for majority of goalies that play the Oilers, though.
Oh, Jacob Markstrom has nightmares.
Markstrom has nightmares against Edmonton.
Yeah.
Switch teams
whoever
because
LA goalie shows up to play the Oilers.
Doesn't matter which one.
Doesn't matter. It's been 4 different ones. Am I right?
Hey.
Talbot, Kemper, Quick, and
Vezina
Korpisalo.
finalist. Yeah.
Exactly. They're all of them get lit up.
Even Bob, really?
Yeah, Bob. Outside of I think it was game 1 and 2
Game
where
one,
he
he was excellent.
where he
Game
played
7
great.
he was excellent.
Yeah, game 7 too. But there was the Oilers 3 games that they won. Bob wasn't great, so they tend to figure him out.
He was the favorite for Conn Smythe through a few games.
Yep. And then that slipped.
And then he blew it. And I don't want to take anything away from how good Connor was in the Stanley Cup Final, but you have to be, it was there. It was you go win the cup. It's there for you in a sense, but Bobrovsky just didn't produce enough, and he started off that way. But then the Oilers got his number. He got chased in Game 6, I think it was.
Yeah. There was that 8-1 game in there too.
Yeah, but he did get chased in Game 6. I'm pretty sure. I remember he missed, I think, morning skate or the practice before Game 7, and everyone was like, whoa, he's having to take a mental reset, can't be at the rink for however long. It ended up working out. But I think the Oilers very rarely get goalied. I know you hate that term, but very rarely get goalied, especially in playoffs.
They got goalied 29 times according to some people in the regular season.
Anytime they lost and didn't score goals, they got goalied tonight.
Yeah.
No, they just didn't score goals sometimes.
Yeah.
And then
true.
some's definition of goalied might be the Skinner too, and we really got goalied. But to me, this just feels different this year in a lot of ways. We've all watched enough Stanley Cup Finals now in our lifetimes here, boys, that when a team's going to win, you can kind of just feel it along the way. You're like, there's just I hesitate to use the word destiny, but I guess I will because I can't find a synonym for it. But they feel like a team of destiny right now. There's
a good mojo or a vibe around a team.
Totally. There's that Hiller goalie interference call on Kane last year. That would have been a goalie interference penalty, and they'd have scored on the power play.
The Oilers have had some bounces, but they've done a very good job of capitalizing on it. That Kulak out of play,
and then they go
score
right
2 goals right after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even last Game 5 against Dallas, I think it's 4-2. Everybody's like, here we go, Stanley Cup and Robertson scores again.
And a stinker.
And it's a stinker, and he's heating up again. And and what happens?
They go back and score.
Fluke goal.
I was very worried.
Hey,
that
you never know what happens.
No,
It
but
was
that
a very
goes in against
fortuitous
us
goal.
next.
That's true.
Yeah,
The Oilers are up 4-3, and that's the tiring goal last year.
That's right.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think like you said, those bounces. It seemed like they would go the other way, and other times. I'm forgetting the point that I was going to make. Come back to me. I'm blanking.
You've got this. You've got this.
Come on. Squeeze
Flesh
my,
it out.
Squeeze my right
Flesh it out.
fist. It activates
We're talking
the
about
left
the
part of
Jason
brain.
Robertson weak goal.
Thank you.
There
Thank
we
you.
go. We fleshed it out.
I was gonna say I was worried that if this series were to continue past that, if Dallas did come back and win that game, Robertson's starting to get hot. Ranton looked a little bit better in that game. Like Hintz scored, I think
he
again.
did.
Like I was a little worried. I'm like, okay, they extend this. Their stars are starting to get a little hot here. Like this might not be too great for the Oilers, but yeah, it's good. Good job that they close it out.
I like this text. The Oilers only get goalied by AHL guys or rookies. LOL. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Lucas Dostal loves playing
And
against
that's
the Oilers.
just it, yeah. An RFA, by the way.
Yeah. Hello.
Let me ask you guys this. Has this been a reinvention or a redemption? Michael asked this on Oilers Live last night, and I thought it was a great question. Kind of curious for your guys' answer.
For
For the Oilers, yeah.
Like, what would like
what was it
reinvention
again?
entail?
Reinvention or
Redemption or reinvention? Like the redemption part of it, it's, there's 3 of the 4 teams are repeating. We get we get to slap LA around again, and we beat them a few more years in a row. They might start to learn. But Dallas in the conference final again, Florida in the Stanley Cup final again, or is it reinvention? Did we get better? Did, instead of going out and getting those 5, 6, 7 defensemen that fill a role and are defensive specialists and block shots and kill penalties, he went and got puck movers.
Yeah.
He doubled down on what we were already good at. We're really good at being.
I was surprised how well that worked out.
Yeah.
I think we're all surprised,
Yeah.
Tommy. Nobody thought Wallman, who was given away by the Red Wings, and Klingberg, who's a scratch ticket, are going to be.
Klingberg was horrible, like in the regular season.
He was clearly still fighting through something because,
Yeah,
He's also maybe just finding his legs.
that's
well,
true.
whatever it is.
Those
Hadn't
hips are
played in a
moving.
while.
He missed games due to injury, so I'm assuming he was fighting through something. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, again, they flipped the switch. Something clicked.
The flipping of the switch there, yeah. I mean,
We've
There-
seen Klingberg's been a menace in past playoffs.
it's been very good. The other thing about this roster when it comes to Edmonton is there are no tweeners, there are no AHL guys, there are no rookies or young guys. It's
like-
all NHL veterans except
Next
for
man
Ty
up
Emberson.
next man up is a bona fide NHLer.
Yeah.
Like there's no.
And I think that's a big difference maker for championship caliber teams. There's no real.
Not bringing Broberg in the finals.
But he surprised
I'm just
everybody.
saying,
Yeah.
though, it's not normally
Yeah.
a recipe for success to bring in a rookie to the playoffs defenseman in a finals.
And okay, when they do need to bring in somebody due to an injury or somebody's not playing well, they're not bringing in Derek Ryan or Sam Carrick.
No.
It's Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner. One guy's played 1,000 games, has been an all-star. The other guy scored 30 in his career. Like these are legit NHL players. Now they have their detriments to their game. They're not the biggest, whatever. But these are like pros, and I think that's a huge thing too. And I know we mocked the Oilers for being the oldest team in the league, but it's like, well, you're not bringing in a guy that you can only play 4 minutes, and you're worried about playing him after the second period because you can go down the bench and be like, well, that guy's been in the league for like 6 years. That guy's been in the league for 10 years. Oh, by the way, that guy's been in the league for 22 years. Like, it's insane, and it's paid off, which is good. Good job by management who get knocked for a lot of things and I think rightly so. But this strategy has worked out. 'Cause here we are.
I think it hasn't been the biggest moves that have like gotten this team this far. It's the small ones. It's the Klingbergs. It's the Troy Stetcher re-signing. It's the Kapanen waiver pickup.
Yeah.
The Pod Colson trade.
Who would have thought Kapanen?
Not you, Tommy. Not you. Not you.
Not me. Like Kapanen's the guy getting the last laugh over the.
What does he do? He just skates around real fast doing nothing.
I stand by that, but he's been doing less nothing and more something.
At least he's physical. Like when,
Yeah.
when he's not scoring goals or anything, he's physical. And hey, he scored the most goals out of any Finn in that series, in the Dallas series.
That is
And
true.
there's a lot of very good Finns on that other side.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's the small moves for Sam that really made the biggest difference. Obviously, Wallman was a bigger trade, and he's turned out really well here. But I think it's small ones that have gotten this team where they are.
Well, and it's funny though, just because Tommy was saying like it's the Victor Arvidsson, Jeff Skinners that come into the lineup. Those
they're
are
the
the
ones
big
sitting.
free agent signings
Yeah,
that
yeah.
started though. Like that's the funny thing. It's like they're big moves from the offseason to a degree. Were these guys?
Yeah.
This is why they didn't seem like there needed to be a priority for Holloway or Broberg, is because you got these guys, but they're just extra players now because of just how this depth of this team is all stepped up. So that's the part that I just find a little funny too, is just how much money they spent a little bit in this offseason.
I mean,
and those are the guys that are were in the press box and stuff.
Most of the money Jackson spent is in the press box. Between Skinner, Arvidsson, and Brown. Brown started these playoffs. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about Klingberg reinventing himself?
Oh boy.
Brown started these playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember the first goal was Kuzmenko, I think, tap in right behind Brown. I was like, oh, there we go. He's in the series. Like, yeah, that was. I think a lot of people here were watched Brown in the preseason. We're like, doesn't look like he's going to be with the team too much this year. So I don't know. It's not the best 3-year deal for a guy like that. It's a little rough, but
never trust preseason.
Never
trust preseason.
No comment. I'll leave Josh Brown alone. I think I had my say with him after game 1.
I'll just go to
Tyratti and Lamborghini Perlini are really upset with
yeah.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman. When the Oilers first signed Josh Brown, his article had it that he spoke with some executive in the NHL, and they went, "This guy's the worst player in the NHL."
Yeah.
Like, that was the sentence.
And
you're like, "Oh, okay."
I talked to DNB about that because I had some interesting conversations with a couple of scouts about that signing, and then I went to DNB. I'm like, "Oh, that was a killer dagger of a line." He goes, "I know I didn't really want to use it, but it was too good, and it was very honest."
I thought I
and
actually
slipped it
saw
in there.
some like WAR ratings, like the fancy stat where you're rated against your peers, and I think his card said 0%.
Wow.
Well, he's not great.
Where is he on the depth chart for defensemen? Like you got Stetcher sitting right now.
Emberson's still waiting in the wings.
Do you put Dineen in instead of Brown?
If they're needing to go to a third defenseman, they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you're putting at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what was crazy about him playing that game 1 against the Kings? He literally hadn't skated in a month because he was taking care of family stuff. I think they were waiting for the birth of a child, and he just came back to the Condors like the week prior and was just getting back on the ice, and all of a sudden you're throwing him into game 1. I'm like, that guy?
Wow.
And that's where I think it tells you where he is on the depth chart. But also, I was told too that some of it was guys validating their jobs and why they signed him and this and that. So there's a little bit of politicking going on with it. And that happens. The Oilers aren't the only
Coach doesn't
organization
always
that
make
has
the
that.
lineup.
Yeah, exactly. So thankfully it was a one and done.
Yeah.
But personally, I'd put Cam Dineen in over him if you need to get to defenseman number 10.
He moves his feet well. Dineen
Yeah.
moves his feet, like solid puck mover. Like I think he'd fit the brand of what this decor looks like. So yeah, Brown looks like kind of like a worse Desharnais.
I'd start with Dineen until the Panthers crush him into boards with a few
Well,
forechecks.
that could happen too.
And
Yeah,
then he can't
exactly.
skate like that anymore, and then you go to Brown
a good
for
point.
some revenge.
Yeah.
But I think Matty made the most important point there. If you're at either one of those guys, there's bigger problems.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few injuries or players have just fallen off, and there's no reason to believe that the falling off of players right now is coming. This team, there's a few people in the nasty chat that were earlier going, this is team of destiny. And it does feel that way. Like I will refer to as a Ravens fan. I remember the year they won the Super Bowl. Was that 12? I think it was 2012. There was just something I never was worried about the team.
Yeah.
And that included a Hail Mary play against the Denver Broncos where they tied it and forced overtime. Like, they got the breaks, but I never was worried about that team. Like, this feels right. Like, this feels like I'm going to have a good January here. I'm getting that feeling watching this Oiler team where it's just like, if you're an Oiler fan, you should be looking at like there hasn't been, take away those first 2 games of the playoffs. There isn't something to sit there and be like, this team, something's going to get in their way. Just whatever roadblock's going to get there, they're going to move it aside. And Dash, you were talking about earlier, like those breaks that we've seen in the past, they're coming their side. Like, imagine if the Brett Kulak clearing of the puck went against the Oilers.
Yeah.
Like it was if roles were reversed and the other team scored 2 goals. The Oilers fans would be fuming about that. Like, but this year, and that's what happened to this team over the last few years.
Yep.
But now you got those breaks, and sometimes that just happens, and it's just okay. They're rolling.
We go from Peter Angelo two-handing Draisaitl to Nurse two-handing Hins. You know, like it's just things are going our way this time.
And I don't think the Florida Panthers go into this series worried about the Oilers. No. They won the Stanley Cup Final last year against them. They won both meetings against them this year. They feel very confident themselves.
Yep.
But I think the Oilers are in a great spot to just let last year be forgotten and this regular season to be forgotten. And it's just two really good teams getting set to come at it. And I don't know. I think the Oilers have the advantage in a lot of areas.
Yeah. Little off topic. Just a quick point. I watched an Oilers Plus episode of they do game passes of each game, and they mic'd up Nurse for Game 5, and they got him in the handshake line going up to Hintz, and right away Nurse goes "Hey, sorry, bud," and Hintz didn't say a thing. Just shook his head. I was "Yeah,
what are you gonna say?"
Yeah, that's tough.
What did they
It's
say?
okay.
Thanks for ruining the series.
It's okay. Yeah, my foot's broken.
Sorry,
It's fine,
you know,
whatever.
I can't go golfing on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Love
Oh,
losing to you guys.
that
That's
was
so nice
suck.
of you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's so
Thanks.
thoughtful.
I really wanted your apology.
Yeah.
You get knocked out and you can't even play in the go golf. What was it announced yesterday?
His injury?
Yeah, fractured foot.
foot,
That's
yeah.
what it came
Just
out.
like we thought.
So,
Yeah,
not just like we thought.
Well, I thought.
There was a lot of people that thought he was faking right on game one,
Yeah,
and
I mean, you don't miss
it
the
did
next
look
game.
that way. But then
Yeah.
once you miss that next game,
Yeah. Then that's when you know it's real.
then
I've-
you know something's happening.
I've two-handed enough people on the laces to know as soon as I saw that exactly what happened.
That's an ouchie.
It's definitely a tender spot. But speaking to your point on advantages this year, I totally agree, Maddie. It's kind of flipped, right? Even if you're looking at the fancy stats that Tommy loves, I think the Panthers and Oilers were second and third, or third and fourth in the regular season in expected goals for. They're second and third in the playoffs, respectively, for expected goals for. They're trending right where they should be. The thing that's kind of different this year is, I think, versus last year, it was the Oilers were trending good on goals for, and the Panthers were trending very well on expected, keeping goals out, expected goals against. And it's flipped this year. Now it's the Oilers all of a sudden that can keep the puck out of the net, but they're also still scoring. The stats around the Panthers right now, if you're looking at shot percentage and some of the expected goals for, I think they're 12 or 8 or something above on expected goals for. Can they keep that up? And I don't think Bobrovsky's going to be able to keep it up. So it's kind of like this flip situation versus last year, where we're the one better at defending all of a sudden. And defense wins championships. And last year they had home ice advantage. This year we have home ice advantage. And there's many people that argued that if we had the home ice advantage last year, we might have won.
Yeah. I mean, to your point with the defense, this has got to be the best decor they've had since Bob Stofford yesterday said since 1987.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the decor in 1987 was not born.
1987, Paul Coffey, Charlie
yeah.
Huddy, Brandy Gregg, Steve Smith. Was Ruotsalainen on that team?
87.
And then there would have been Kevin Lowe.
Yeah.
That's 6.
I mean, this Oilers decor has got 6 when they're healthy, 6 very good D-men. And then it's crazy saying Troy Stetcher is a very solid defenseman for you, but Troy Stetcher has been played very, very well when he's came into play. So having him upstairs is a luxury.
Yep.
So
Text comes in from Ranger Nick, says, "Hey guys, so there's no chance Hyman plays with a broken wrist. If it goes Game 7, there's no way." Ranger Nick, no, absolutely not. He had that surgery. He's out, and from my understanding and what I was told over the weekend, it is a bit of a complicated wrist break, and it's going to take some time. So he's not going to be ready at all. So don't even get that going. If people are talking about it, they're delusional.
So you're not gonna have the Mighty Ducks moment where he.
There's no
Just
Adam
in the
Banks.
locker
No. And
then-
it just sounds like it was.
And then McDavid takes off his jersey and gives it to him to go play. And
That's how you do it, Captain Duck.
Mr. Miyagi jumps out of the cabinet instead of Connor Brown.
Exactly.
So I think you're right a lot, Maddie. That there's a lot of, and Benny too. There's a lot of advantages here versus last. It seems like it's really going our way. I think it's going to be. What I like about it too is Edmonton can play whatever way Florida wants to play. Like we can now kind of bang the forecheck just like they did to us last year. You want to try and bully us around? Well, now we got a Kane in the lineup and a Frederick in the lineup. And
Well, that first game, Dash, in the regular season when Florida came here, the discussion post-game was, oh my, did the Oilers ever get pushed around? And then now with those guys, Frederick, Kane, and others playing physical, Kapanen, it does kind of shift things, and they can go toe-to-toe physically that way.
which one of the 82 games in the regular season this year, Tommy, did the narrative not be the Oilers got pushed around?
Yeah.
They had one of the lowest hit
They've been-
totals in the league, right? Like
'Cause they always have the puck
lowest.
ban.
The lowest.
Yeah.
And it, like that, they've been planning this
Yeah.
playoff entourage since game one. Entourage. That's not the word I'm looking for.
Ensemble?
No.
Rampage? I don't know.
Sure, that's better. Yeah.
like-
They've been like planning this playoff rampage since game one. They've been saving it
Yeah.
since then. They like let's not throw any hits in the regular season.
I-
We're gonna throw them all in the postseason.
I think Knobloch said in his press
Onslaught.
the other day, like he admitted to like the team like having a hard time like even like getting up for some games because in the regular season because it was just
The
like
first month was like that. I remember
Yeah.
going to the rink for opening night, even
Yeah.
for the fans.
Yeah.
Us going
Yeah.
there as
Yeah.
media, it was like,
Like,
this is we're back already?
yeah, really,
What's
like
going on?
let's fast forward here.
Yeah.
But obviously there's
Maybe the key to all of this for me too, and I don't know, I guess I've never lost a Stanley Cup, but I feel like the pain of losing is a lot more motivating than the joy of winning.
yeah.
I don't think, and Benny said earlier, I don't think Connor's losing 2 years in a row.
I'd be shocked.
Did you see that post-game press conference after Game 5 in Dallas?
just
Business.
Shirt-faced.
Yeah, they were ready for that
Business.
meeting. They had the notes and minutes ready to go.
They were in their suits.
Yeah.
The hats were on the table.
Yep. That was it.
Business.
I to me that was a nice tell. I said it on the post-game show last week. I was like, I kind of like where their attitude is at. I don't mind touching the trophy. Saw that video on Instagram or Twitter of people at Rogers Place at the watch party going, "No, don't touch it." It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
They touched it. They didn't touch it last year. They didn't touch it in 06. They lost. And then somebody, I think, replied with Messier carrying it in 1990.
Gretzky didn't touch it in 83. They touched it in 84 and they won.
There you go.
Crosby didn't touch it in
08.
8 was the first year.
Yeah, 08 was.
Oh, no.
And they won in 09.
Yeah.
McDavid doesn't touch it
And he
in
said it.
2024. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I found the response that there's one guy in this one particular video I saw that was like, "Oh my god!" and like head back, guy in his like 40s
Yeah.
or 50s. I was like, "You're gonna be okay."
It's fine.
Paul Coffey's starting to rub off on them a little bit. eh?
Yeah.
Like I know they touched the trophy, and Paul probably never would have done that. But you remember the picture last year?
Yeah,
when
he was
they were
like
stand-
5 feet.
He's like 20
Hands
feet
in
away.
his pockets. And, like Paul doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's cough.
It's like what's that famous Kobe line?
Job's not finished.
Job's not finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's there to be happy about? Job's not finished.
Job's not done.
No.
I like that demeanor. I'm sure the Panthers are saying something similar too, but
Yeah.
no, that's a good sign, I think.
Yeah.
I like we don't care about superstitions. We don't care about that. Yeah, we won this trophy. Here, let's touch it. Let's go ahead. Let's now go win the other one.
well-
But we earned this.
Yeah.
So let's take that picture. And it is different from what it was last year. So the Panthers are back. The last time a Cup champ made it back to the Stanley Cup Final, they did lose. The Lightning lost in 22 after winning in 21. However, the Lightning won in 20. When they got back in 21, they did win. Prior to that, Pittsburgh got back in 17 after winning in 16, and they won. And then prior to that, I think Detroit got back and lost to the Penguins in the back-to-back
Yeah.
years.
Yes.
But that was the last time we had the same matchup
The
in
Marian
back-to-back
Hossa
years.
switch.
It was the swap. I think this is only the fourth time in NHL history it's the same final back-to-back year. I'm trying to remember. I saw Elliot Friedman had it as
Oh,
we were
really?
going in. I think two of them were splits, and one of them back in the day, Montreal swept.
Like even in the early NHL?
Oh, I'd imagine it has to be Pat. Like
68,
post.
69, they swept the Blues.
Did they play the Blues back-to-back years?
So
in
maybe
the
that, because,
final?
then the Leafs beat the Red Wings in back-to-back years. So there must have been after a certain point. Maybe a post-expansion.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no way in the original 6 days.
So
Yeah.
68, 69, the Canadians did it. They swept. And then there was two other opportunities, I believe, that it happened, but it was it was a splits.
Well,
So in
Detroit,
recent history-
Detroit, Pittsburgh went back to back.
That was a split, and then there's another one that was a split.
That was
Gretzky with the Islanders. That was a split.
Islanders, Oilers.
Yeah.
yeah, 83, 84.
Yeah.
That might have been it.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you look at generational players, like that's why people think McDavid's going to win this year. Start off with Gretzky losing to the Islanders. Next year, beats the Islanders. Crosby loses the Red Wings. Next year, beats Red Wings. So,
So what? This is also the start of 5 and 7.
Benny, are you saying this is destiny?
I'm
boy.
all. If destiny's the
Okay.
word that people want to throw around, sure. I'm myself just like remove myself from being overly just like analytical about it. I'm very confident though. Very, very confident. Yeah.
I feel the same. Like I don't
Like it just doesn't. I don't have any doubt.
One, like I was looking at the penalty kill, and the Panthers have a great penalty kill, but I was just trying to remember. I think the Dallas Stars had like the top penalty killer right up there going into the last series.
And LA had the best penalty
playoffs.
kill in the regular season, no? Or very up there?
Yeah,
Like,
They were the
like-
best, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Oilers just took care of business.
Yeah.
Like there isn't. I even feel, and I've had my skepticisms of him throughout the year and stuff, but I would take Stuart Skinner over Bobrovsky right now.
Oh
You
my
would, eh?
God.
Wow.
Really?
Well, I mean, like right at how they're both
The way
playing
they're
right.
playing.
Oh, that has to
right.
be what he means.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, if we're talking about Bobrovsky, he's older, so if you're looking at that
Yeah,
part of it,
well, I mean, they
building
both-
around. But like,
They both started these playoffs rough.
since he's come back, since Pickard's gone down, there's not even moments where I'm like worried that a goal is going to go in.
Yeah.
There's not like he looks so calm in his own net.
Has a goalie this year, playoffs or regular season, played better over a 5-game stretch than Skinner has since coming back against Vegas?
That's a good
I
question.
think so.
I don't think so. I can't think of
Like Connor Hellebuyck had maybe a 5-game regular season run or something. Like I don't know. Like I don't
Did
know.
anybody
Like,
have back-to-back shutouts in the regular season this year? I can't remember.
I'm sure there were.
Yeah. I mean,
but just
there
sure
were,
is.
Darcy Kemper had a really good streak there for a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a very good
so.
point.
To Maddie's point, like that's
Yeah.
I guess he's the hottest goalie
with
in
the
entire
stakes,
NHL
with
right
stakes
now.
at highest, right? Like yeah.
Yeah. Where are all those fans that were saying Stuart Skinner isn't the same goalie that got us to Game 7 last year? Every time somebody said this is the goalie that got us to Game 7, rage in the post-game show, Tommy. Rage.
I think they
vividly
only come
recall.
out in the post game show when the Oilers lose.
Yeah.
So.
I vividly recall all of them because I'd go to sleep that night crying.
I'm sure.
No. But he got a lot of flack, and he didn't have a particularly great regular season. We all acknowledge that, but he's dialed it in. He started the playoffs terribly. So did the team. It was funny. The one thing, looking back in this postseason, when we were talking about Stu Skinner, it was a couple weeks ago when Dusty went on a rant.
Yep.
And Reed got fired up on the post-game show, too. We had back-to-back.
Squeak whip.
Yeah. There were still people that were like, I don't know about Stu Skinner. And Dusty made a great point. He's like, the guy just got another shutout, and he's winning.
And you
you're
guys are
still
complaining?
complaining. What is wrong? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Some fans are just so unsatisfied.
They just want to complain.
Yeah, I like, and don't get me wrong. I think Stu's best game in the playoffs was what was that Game 4 against Dallas? The one where he didn't even have a shutout. He led in one.
Yeah, it
that was
game
game
4.
Or was it game? Yeah, it was Game 4. Game 4. Yeah, like I think that's probably his best game, even though he let in one. But
He's brilliant.
yeah, he was incredible. And the shutouts, like he had to make some big saves, but a lot of it was the team defense in front of him was very good. But that's not to say Skinner did not play exceptional in those games too. It's just like he didn't have to make too many big ones. That Game 4 one, if he had a rough night, that was gonna be a rough night for the team. Because yeah, he was a saving grace that day.
Michael in the nasty chat. Don't you guys feel last year was destiny too? Though they were 2-9-1, they were 3-2 down to Vancouver, down in the Star Series. They were down 3-0 to Florida. That would have been destiny. No, they never had that same feel.
That's why I don't think it was destiny last year because there were so many lows and so many they gotta drag themselves back out. This year it's been business. They went down 2-0 to LA, and since then it's been 12-2. Like they don't play around with their food. Like they take care of business, and like 12-2 in the regular season's a very good run. This is the playoffs where they played Dallas 5 of those games and Vegas 5 of those games. Like those are like. Those teams were ranked higher than Edmonton going in the playoffs this year. Like those are very, very good teams. So
Teams of destiny don't go to Game 7 in 2 or 3 of the rounds in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Like a team of destiny is the 2011 11 Kings or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They
Dominant.
down 0-3 in the first round, and then what did they lose? 2 games for the rest of the playoffs, right? Like once they flipped that switch, it was theirs, and that's how I feel this year. Last year still had the ups and downs. It still had we had to. I mean, Draisaitl said it. The Vancouver series took everything out of them. To them,
That's a good point.
It wasn't
JT
against
Miller
Demko,
cross-checking him in the ribs every night.
right. So this year, it's just like I said, it was the Peter Angelo cross-check last time. It's
Or the slash.
It's slash last time.
Well,
It's
it's
the
the-
nurse slash this time. Like it's just everything seems to be going our way.
The high stick penalty or high stick or in LA that overtime.
Like
Gabe Velarde?
Yes.
Gabe Velarde bat down. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
that.
yeah.
The bat down. There's
Yeah.
and I'm not going to get into, but the Kale McCarr close offside.
Oh, that was terrible.
Right.
All those things are happening,
yeah.
and they're all happening against the Edmonton
Yeah.
Oilers, and
Yeah.
that's why this year those aren't really happening against the Edmonton Oilers, and really they've done this without their top defender for the majority of the time. And they've played a game and 2/3, a little over maybe a game and 3/4 without Zach Hyman.
Yep.
Hasn't been noticeable that he hasn't been there, and that's not to take away from Zach Hyman. It's just how good this team is playing. It is very different years between last year and this year. Last year never felt like I don't think everyone felt just so at ease.
Yeah.
Like going into the Western Conference Finals, there were so many people that were just dismissing Dallas.
Yep.
Going, this is nothing.
They were my pick to win.
Yeah.
And the Oilers made them look like an average hockey team.
Yeah.
I think even not even just last year, like compare it to 2022 where they got killed by the Avs in the conference final. Like the difference in hockey, how they play is so drastically different now. Like this year they look so much more structured and like they're comfortable playing close, low scoring games. Like you remember game 1 of the conference final in 2022? What was that, an 8-7 final or something? Like it was like something ridiculous. Like, It was such run and gun. The Calgary game 1 was like a 7-5 loss.
9-7,
9-7. Yeah, like
yeah.
it's like
So was game 2.
yeah,
Yeah, it was. That was wild.
Like so, like that type of hockey just doesn't seem like it's in like the Oilers' repertoire anymore. But which I think they can flip back to. Like if they want to play running gun, they can. It's just not a sustainable, winning hockey for them. So they've slowed it down and they've played a very structured hockey it's hard to beat.
How about this text from Brandon? It says, I hear a lot about the back-to-back reversals as good omens for the Oilers. I like to just add, Oil have the Corey Perry curse to counteract it.
What's that, 5 of 6 Stanley Cup Finals
Yeah.
now?
That's nuts.
Yeah. Wow.
I like this text, too. I almost threw up when you mentioned that close offside from McCarr. That was the most ridiculous thing.
I stand by was the correct call.
Oh,
I'm not getting into it.
You
Based
would.
on the rule
You
book, it
would.
was the
It
correct call
was
based on the rule book.
terrible.
Based on that rule book, they got it right. It's
brutal.
crappy.
When you change
It's
the
a
rules
stupid
based
rule.
on a call,
Yeah.
It's a stupid. Well, they haven't changed the rule. They need to change it again. They need to change it to make it more definitive. It's too It's too gray area isk.
I thought the wording was amended. No,
I don't know.
They haven't
It's
touched it.
really?
They haven't touched it.
Okay.
just-
Sorry.
it was considered a dump in when he's got it on his stick, and you're like, what?
Why? But then his blade was off the stick, and it's once
Just
his blade's
slight-
off the
Like,
stick.
it's just
And
he's
that's
stick
the-
handling at like.
And
yeah.
the call happened this year at some point. I don't know if it was in the regular season or if it was
Yeah,
in
I
the
remember
playoffs, but it
that.
happened. I think
Yeah.
it was
Director
the Leafs
referred
or
to
something.
yeah.
Like
Yep.
that was one where I went. The NHL definitely should just change the rule.
Yeah.
Like put more wording into this.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that, so it's still lawyer speak.
So stupid.
Portions is this hour of the EST Hangout. They're brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Stock, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, thehighproductmarketing.com. Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanyk, Benny the Intern, Dash in the Park with you here on the EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. On Edmonton Sports Stock, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Thank you to everyone for listening live on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, Apple Music, watching on YouTube, or listening wherever you get your podcast. Please hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe to Edmonton Sports Talk as well on our YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button. We're at a little over 12.5K.
Nice.
Can we get to 13 by the end of the summer?
Oh,
I'm wondering about that. Can
I
we get
like
to
it.
13 by the end of the summer?
I think that's
like
a
it.
realistic goal.
Yeah, that's
I
not
like
like, hey, can we get to it by the end of the playoffs? Like, can we get to 13 by the end of the summer? We will have to find out. Still to come, like we will talk some Elks. We got to talk a little bit Elks. Big surprising cuts.
The Hollands
this
one.
past weekend. Tailgate was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Want to get into that, but we'll wrap up. We'll still continue here with the Stanley Cup Final as Oilers and Panthers. They get going Wednesday, which means 5 o'clock. GCLD's Ulstrom pregame show. Canadian ISOs. Tommy will be there on Wednesday. And a reminder on Wednesday, we will have you fully covered entirely when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers Florida Panthers game from 6 until 6, 12 hours. I don't think any more pregame coverage across this city than what we have with the 12 hours right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. And then obviously we will have the postgame show for you once it ends as well. Okay, what's the one concern that you have for the Edmonton Oilers matching up against the Florida Panthers? If you have to point to one thing and go, if I'm worried about the Oilers not hoisting the cup when all is said and done, it's because of this. Dash?
Easy. Penalty kill.
Yeah.
Special teams, whatever. Penalty kill, though.
What is the Panthers power play rolling at right now? I got to go find it.
I'd assume it's good.
Yeah.
It's rolling. Their penalty kills awesome. It's operating like ours was in the playoffs last year. We obviously have struggled in that penalty kill previously in these playoffs. I know we've killed 9 of our last 10, so we're going to have to keep that up. The 5-on-5 play has been really good. Like last year's series, all 7 games combined, 5-on-5 scoring was 14-14. So it's going to come down to special teams again, I think.
Florida, 23.2% on the power play this playoffs. They are 6th in the playoffs. The Oilers were 4th at 30%. The LA Kings led the playoffs at 40%. Yeah. The Montreal Canadiens were at 33.3. Dallas was at 32.1, but the Oilers at 30%, but the Panthers at 23.2. When you look at the penalty kill for this series, or the Panthers, they lead the playoffs. Their penalty kill is at 87.9%. The Edmonton Oilers, right near the bottom, 14th at 66%.
Yeah. I mean, if that continues, if those numbers drag into this playoff or this playoff series, yeah, that could. I'll say, I think a very easy way for the wheels to fall off here is if Skinner starts to go back to where he was in the regular season.
But here's the thing about that: you got Calvin Pickard.
Yep, 100%. I just think Pickard's not even when he played solid. He wasn't fantastic. He wasn't bad. He was solid. He didn't get 900. I don't think he got a single 900 save percentage in his 6 wins. Right. I'm pretty sure they were all in the 800s. But
they were scrappy wins.
They were scrappy, and you can't complain about that. It's just when you play a very good Florida team, Pickard still might not be. I mean, think about it this way: you're McDavid's in the 2nd Stanley Cup Final in a row. What is he? 28, 29 years old, and you're their team might have to go to Calvin Pickard in a Stanley Cup Finals is a crazy thought. But
who's 6-0,
undefeated goalie.
He's on a 6-game heater right now.
6-game heater.
He had 2 games above 900 save percentage.
Okay. So his total save percentage is like an 880 or something, right? Yeah. So, that. I think that's the one place that could lead to the wheels falling off a little bit. But I'm with how Skinner's playing, it's how can you doubt him right now? He's flying. So, and that would be a rough couple post-game shows for you, Tommy, I'd imagine.
That's okay, man. I've been through it all with this team. I'll be okay.
Still wouldn't be his worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so I'd say goaltending, but I'm not very confident in that pick.
Jared, this playoff run, the Oilers have scored 3 or more goals in 14 of 16 games. They've scored 4 or more in 9 of 16.
No.
Yeah, I'd have to go to the power play versus power play and, the special teams for me. But that's the one part about that, though, is this back to the reinvention or redemption
or reinvention.
Where I go with the reinvention a little bit is for the last number of years, the Oilers have slowly been getting better at it, but they were a power play team.
Yeah,
we knew that their benefit was on the power play, and they were going to win on the power play. But if they don't get the calls, or if they don't score, okay, well, it's going to be tough. This team, if they don't get a power play opportunity, they're still probably in a really good chance to win a hockey game because their 5-on-5 play is just ridiculously good right now.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm even don't even want to fully say special teams because it's they're fine. They'll score.
Yeah.
The power play and penalty kill, when the power play ends for whatever, they'll come out, they'll score a goal. They'll figure it out. That's just how good that they are.
I also think that's mainly just because the Oilers' depth has completely flipped. It's they're not relying on 97 and 29 to carry that 5-on-5 offense. It's been there's some stat I saw of like when 97 and 29 are not on the ice, at 5-on-5 the Oilers are outscoring other teams on 5-on-5 by like a pretty solid amount. So it's like, and they compare it to last year or past couple of years, and it's always been outscored. This year, the depth of the Oilers has really stepped up, which has allowed their 5-on-5 play to be better, and that's made the power play have to be a secondary thing, which is great for this team. So.
Do you guys think? Oh yeah, Tommy still has to answer the.
No, that's
fill in
fine.
the blank.
Continue.
No,
Fill
no,
in the blank on what?
What if there's
What
one
worries
thing
you?
that worries you about the Panthers from an Oilers perspective? What would be the one thing that you'd be like, this is the thing that, okay, the Oilers aren't going to hoist the cup because of this?
I think just the Panthers Stanley Cup pedigree.
Yeah.
Like all the things we're talking about the Oilers that are really good, Florida also has.
Yeah, that's just
Rod
it.
Peterson's talking about that down in Florida.
Yeah, and like
100%.
that. This is going to be the toughest challenge. These two teams are built to win the Stanley Cup. Florida had a bit of a rougher road and played a couple extra games to get to the Cup final than Edmonton. Right, Edmonton's at 16. Florida.
They play one extra game.
Yeah, exactly. But they had to go through a
Yep.
Game 7 against
Game
Toronto.
7, yep.
They had to go through 5 games against Carolina. But yeah, I think just the Oilers, a lot of what they're going to see and all the things, the elements that they possess, so do the Panthers, except they don't have a McDavid. They do have a Kachuk. The Oilers, there's a Barkov instead of a Draisaitl, and I think it's going to come down to one or two little mistakes every game,
Yep.
maybe even the series total, and that's going to be the difference between a Stanley Cup win for Edmonton or a Stanley Cup loss again.
That's a Brad Marchand over there, too.
Depth has been our strength,
I know.
but depth also worries me a little bit against the Panthers.
They have depth. Yeah,
They have dogs.
Like, do you want Rico, Podkolzin, and
Kapanen or
Kapanen or on a third line, or do you want Marchand, Lundell, and
Lissarainen or
how's that gonna
Yeah, but-
how's that gonna match up?
I think it'll match up fine, to be honest with you, because they're all good veteran players. And I do this myself, but when I watch other series and I kind of stack them up and I look at the Panthers, like, what is a Luostarinen? What is a Lindell? Why are we talking about Nico Mikkola being this
yeah.
beast all of a sudden? It's like, well, if we're doing that, shouldn't we be saying the same things about some of these Oilers?
Yeah, we know what
shouldn't
Rico
we talking
is. We know
about
what Kane is.
Oh, look at Matthias Janmark. I'll use him because he's my boy. But look at Matthias Janmark. What a huge goal in Game 5. That's playoff Janmark. So
Yeah.
that's why I still I respect what the Panthers have, but you got to also appreciate what the Oilers have.
For sure. I'm just saying, as we're sitting here
No, and I
talking
get
about
it.
our team's depth, there's Sunrise Sports Talk, the Hangout. There's 4 guys way less better looking than us talking about their depth than
Yeah.
the Florida Panthers and
That's
saying
right.
how much of an advantage it is. So
Well, they'd have a tan, though. They'd have
They
four
would have a tan.
tans.
They got
They'd
us.
just be
Got us
fully
there.
tan.
Yeah.
one of the 4 of us has a tan. Here.
No, and plus, they don't have
I
it to
just
show
burned.
that's dedicated
Yeah,
for
me
2
too,
hours to the
John.
Panthers
Me too.
today.
I just burn.
Me too.
I would honestly, I'd argue though, forward wise on paper, Florida, they probably look better forward wise. With how they're playing, obviously, I haven't watched every single game Florida's played, but this is where there's decor. Like from 1 to 6, to me, I can't pick out a bad defenseman the Oilers have right now.
I think you got to go 7. I got to say 1 to 7 because
I guess,
Ekholm just got it back
Yeah.
in and
Yeah.
Stetcher, he deserves that props.
100%. Nate Schmidt scored a couple goals in the first round, but I don't expect him to be like a big play driver in this series.
He's a good
veteran
defenseman.
too,
Yeah,
yeah.
solid
I-
defenseman.
I
But
think you can say the same thing about Florida, Benny. You
Yeah.
throw their
Yeah.
top 6 D out.
Yeah.
Seth Jones is way better than OEL was last year.
Yeah, no,
And
100%.
OEL had a bounce back season.
He did,
Right?
100%. I just think you look at John Klingberg and Kulak and Wallman. These guys are not looked at maybe as highly
Right.
as the Florida guys are.
They're gonna be underestimated.
They're going to be underestimated, but if when you're like us and you've watched this team this whole playoff run, you go that's a very, very capable playoff defenseman. They've been fantastic. Klingberg to me has been the biggest surprise for me this playoff run. Just he looks like he did in Dallas. That's ridiculous.
That is
it's
crazy,
It's ridiculous to think about that. I remember joking about that. Oh yeah, the Oilers just got Dallas Klingberg. Oh, they're set. That's their guy. They don't need to get a defense with the deadline. They got him. And being sarcastic, but it's kind of turned.
It has
It's kind of
worked
turned
out.
out. Yeah, it's turned out that way.
I do want to get to Play Alberta over or under, which is brought to you by Play Alberta. Right now, $20 deposit or more with if you get a $50 casino code. Use EST Casino or use EST Sports when you deposit $20 for a $50 free bet. You'll also soon be able to continue to use YEG50 for a $50 free bet. Should be good to go now.
Dusty just
minimum
texted
$5 bet. I know there was a little bit of an issues going on with that at the start of the Hangout.
Yep.
Dusty says it's good to go. Dusty has messages right now. So YEG50 when you deposit 5 or more, and you get a $50 free bet that way. We obviously know how the series started last year, but Flip, it's starting in Edmonton, not in Florida this year. I'm going to set it at 1.5. What's the over and under you guys have of Oilers wins in the first 2 games?
I'll just go under. If it's at 1.5, I think we're going to see a split. I think we're going to just see a back and forth slobber knocker series. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Dig in for a battle. That's what I'm. Prepare yourselves mentally for a battle. I feel like that's what we're going to see. And then, I mean, I will give Edmonton all the credit in the world for being very efficient in the last 2 rounds against 2 excellent teams. But I think this is going to be different. I think we're going to see punch, counter punch all series long. And again, there's going to be minimal mistakes, and whoever takes advantage of those minimal mistakes ends up being the winner. So I'll go with the under on this one. I want to be optimistic, but I'll get series split after 2 games.
I agree with him. I was just going to ask you, like, do you expect, let's say the Oilers win game 1, Florida wins game 2, and they're both very close games. Do you expect your post-game show on that Friday night to be panicked?
Yep. Oh, yeah. everything is heightened and elevated.
It's a Florida Panthers team. Like this. Yeah, it probably should be a split in Edmonton. It probably should be. Like, I understand that. The narrative is going to be, and Florida did their job, and they're going to go back to Florida, and they're going to have home ice advantage, and all this stuff. And it's like 2 very good teams are going out in the Cup Final. Like, it's like you got to expect the split in both sides. I think.
I was just going to say that. I think it's going there to split too.
I'll point to Game 3 of the second round against Vegas when Edmonton scored on itself to lose that game. And people were like, well, it's been a great run. It's over. I was like, wait a sec. Your team's up 2-1, and they just beat themselves. Like, there were some things to be concerned about after that game. Of course, yeah. But people were like, it's over. Now Vegas is going to roll. There were so many texts that came in on that post game, and I'm just going, hang on a second.
It's that PTSD, man.
Yeah, you know they're up, right? And so, yes, there will be elevated sense of worry. And people will freak out. Even if they lose game 2 after winning game 1, if that's how it plays out, it's just going to be, there will be those that just see the sky falling. And you're just like, hang on, take a deep breath. You're going to be okay. Let Papa Tom take care of you.
Yeah. Even if the Oilers lose both games at home, like obviously it's not ideal, but you're like as long as they don't get killed in both games at home, I still like the Oilers' chances of coming back. They've given me no reason to not believe that they can win in no matter what situation they're in. I don't want them to see them go down 3-0.
But if they do,
last year,
the series isn't over. They haven't got to 4 yet, and it's wild to think that, but we just saw it last year.
A part of me will worry if they go up 2-0.
You're not the only one.
Just not the pattern. What's going on here? You're going to get overconfident.
The Oilers will not lose 4 and 5 games.
No.
If they go up 2-0, it's over. It's done.
No. This thing's going 6 or 7.
Right, but if they go up 2-0, if they win both home games, the series is over.
Nope. They go up 2-0, then Florida wins the next 2 in Florida.
But the Oilers aren't losing 4 of the remaining 5 games.
Sure, but
that's my point. Like, the Oilers are winning that cup. They're not blowing that.
Yeah.
Where's Hernan?
Smoking a dart.
Kyle Siebert audio. Oilers in 5. Penrith Pancakes. I think the Oilers do win both at home. Lose game 3. Tight win in 4. Then lift the cup on home ice in 5. What will be a wild Saturday night. Duck Dad over. Oilers do not lose a home game in the series. Submitted the Welder Oilers in 5. They're winning both games in Edmonton. I don't know what it would be like if the Oilers won on a Saturday night.
So it would be
a gentleman's sweep.
That's the morning show on the Monday will be something else.
My God.
After people party from Saturday night all the way through to the Sunday.
3,000 likes.
You got to go for that.
3,000. Yeah, it could happen.
That would be the craziest
Big U.
show.
Oilers take both at home. Florida takes game 3, gives their fans hope. Then Oilers crush them in 4,
A lot of people
win
say
it at
that.
home.
Oilers 5.
I don't think it's. I think there's a better chance of the Oilers winning in 5 than 6.
Interesting.
I think it could, like, if I had to put an order, it'd be Oilers in 7, Oilers in 5, Oilers in 6.
I still think it's going at least 6.
Yeah, it's going at least 6, and it'll be 2-2.
I will happily be wrong
Book it.
if Edmonton wins for the sake of the city and the fan base.
Oh, please win at home. Please win it.
Oh,
Please.
That'd be lovely, but
I
think it's going.
To be fair, I've said what you guys have said about the past 2 series against Dallas, against Vegas. I've said I'd be shocked if this series is done before 6.
And it got done.
And it got done. So, I don't know. I would love to be wrong, but I agree with you guys.
Collingwood Rob texting and says, "Hey boys, what do you think of the officials selected for the final? Francis Chiron, Jean Hebert, Wes McCauley, Chris Rooney. Rooney's 8th Cup final, McCauley's 11th, Hebert's 3rd, and Chiron's 3rd."
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I don't really care for the officials. It's
Again, I always come back to I expect very little from them, no matter which refs it is.
Yeah.
And
You set the
Exceed your
bar low for
expectations.
them, and they still stumble over the bar.
that is a fact. And I get frustrated. I get mad at the linesman for taking forever to drop a puck on a face-off. And, yeah, I stand by that. Like, you could put out the biggest rock star ref out there, like Wes McCauley, and I'd be like, I don't care. Like, I still think there's going to be mistakes made. Like, was it – who had the missed call? On the high stick. I think it was Chris Rooney's first game back because he had that high stick in Game 7 against of the Florida-Toronto series, right? And he has that shiner. He had that shiner. And I think that was like right in front of him. Was it Rupe Hintz's stick that got lifted? And he hit his own face with his own stick.
It
and
was
they called
it was Rantanen.
Rantanen, sorry.
Captain lifted Rantanen's stick.
And his own stick hit his face, right? And I'm like, there you go.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. And Rantanen kicks his head back.
I bet you Leon cares about the linesman. Because
Well,
the amount of times that guy gets kicked out of draws,
yeah.
I'm sure he likes to have his gamemanship.
Yeah,
Have his buddy friends.
Somebody
with
needs to
linesmen.
track that next
Yeah,
year.
like seriously, there has to be
Unofficially,
like,
whatever.
Yeah,
but
I could try, and you know what, Dash? I would last one game, and I'd be ready to punch a hole through the wall.
like what's the odds that he gets kicked out of a draw? Like
It's like 78% of the time, man.
it's like it's actually you guys start like planning to have like a centerman with Leon.
I think that's why he does it, is because he knows Connor's right there beside him anyways.
Play Alberta needs to set up a line on that. How many times a game is Leon going to get kicked out of the circle?
Yeah.
Over, under 2.5.
He would lead the league by 100.
Oh,
easily.
Wouldn't even be close. I mean, I guess we watch this team more than
Sure,
everyone
maybe
else.
there's
but
other markets talking about this.
Yeah,
but
no, I doubt
I
it.
don't
It's just Leon. And there's that one clip that came out the other day where he was giving it to a ref and a camera caught it pretty good, like from ice level. He was getting pretty mad at the ref. Like I can't imagine what's been said between a linesman and Leon.
They
but,
can't stand the refs.
yeah, I
No,
know.
of course not.
No.
Coach
Yeah.
Mike says 2 power plays for the Oilers per game max after hearing the officials that are going to be
there you
calling
go.
these games.
The line is probably like, hey, Leon, you start calling me by my first name, I'll stop kicking you out of face-offs.
Yeah.
And Leon still won't call him by his name. He's like, fine, kick me out, a-hole.
I remember it was Riley Shan, Jujar Kara, and a couple of other Oilers in the locker room one day. We were talking about that on a practice day, and they're like, these guys are brutal, man. Like, if you don't say their first name and talk to them like you're friends with them, they get super offended.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Ego,
like, come
man.
on, man.
Yeah.
They're like, for real?
Take off the cape.
Yeah.
Take it off. No, you're not the superhero.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll point to on the officials, though, too, is one of the games against for Dallas. I can't remember which game it was. It might have been the clinching game. I know a lot of people were going like these Dallas with the record with these refs. It's like 22-1 or something, and the Oilers have a terrible record, and the Oilers won the hockey game. So
Yeah,
even
I
those
see those
records, they
stats,
don't
yeah.
always mean everything. So the refs, as Tommy has pointed out, just don't expect a lot from them, and they still will screw it up in a way, shape, or form.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the way this season has gone, the Oilers have gotten the breaks their ways. They'll probably, I would say, happen a little bit continuing going into this series, but also there'll be some breaks for the Florida Panthers that Oilers fans will rightfully be upset about. This is the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada storage experts, more than 2 decades of helping Canadians through life's transitions. Canadian storage provider by Canadian. Find a convenient location nearest you by just going to sentinel.ca. We're 41 minutes away from Post for race 1 at Finger Lakes.
All right.
We're live at Celly's Sports Bar and Lounge at Century Casino just off Fort Road. And we're facing the screen of the horse tracks. And I'm very sad that no one's racing yet now because I loved just going on the horses. But I love this guy. I love the
Dave
video.
Mattice?
There it is.
And his picks for race 3?
1, 7, and 5. Jump on those.
Let's go, Dave.
One scratched. Or was that the first race? Oh, yeah, this is for first race.
Yep,
That was what we're seeing there.
Finger lakes.
Sadie War Lady.
I love the production that goes into some horse track videos and stuff. And, this guy's got a just great shirt, great tie.
Sweaty.
He has a day to go still.
Yeah.
Possibly has a lisp.
The track is
100%.
going fast at Finger Lakes. That's what they say for today.
Tommy,
right.
he's got a lisp. I mean, just, watch him.
You might be right, Dash.
What's that other guy?
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but there might be a lisp in there and some sort of speech impediment.
I think you were here for this with the one last year. There was Jim Byers.
Jimmy Byers.
He was on-
that is a classic
He was at one of my. I
broadcaster.
was looking, I'm like, that face looks familiar. It was Jim Byers, and Jim Byers was the OKC Barons play-by-play voice.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Out there. It was so cool watching him do one of those. But I want some horse race going.
Jimmy Byers. That's a classic broadcaster. Great man to work with. I did color commentary for a bunch of Barons games for Jimmy Byers, and it was a treat to work with. I was nervous as hell, but he's like,
I bet, yeah.
He'd take off his glasses and be like, Tom, you're going to be okay. I'm like, okay, I trust you.
He had a good call.
And Tom, you
Yeah.
are okay.
I was okay. And that's where we, aim low and achieve. So we settled in at okay. Yes, he did have a great call. He called AAA baseball in the PCL, so he had been through Edmonton a lot of times.
Okay.
When whatever the Oklahoma City team's name was at the time, and they faced the Trappers back in the days.
Oil Barons? Oklahoma. No,
Well,
where am I going with
they
it?
were the Dodgers
Yeah,
affiliate
yeah.
at one. They're one of those stapled franchises, just always there, but their affiliation
Yeah,
rotates all the time. Yeah, but you're right. He had a great call, great voice, and talked a lot about horse racing, but loved hockey, loved baseball, could do it all.
We carried his games or a couple because I'm trying to remember how it happened, but we had OKC Barons playoffs on our station at 1260 because it was a year maybe the Oilers missed the playoffs and they sent some guys down for the playoffs or something.
Yeah.
And then we're like, yeah, let's. We were able to. Ched didn't want it, so we jumped on it, and we were just carrying some OKC Barons games, and it was with Jim Byers, and it sounded good.
Great broadcaster.
I'm also noticing a lot of harness racing coming up. I do not like betting on harness racing. I'm just going to throw that out there. No one asked. No one cares. But I'm not a big fan of betting on harness races. I've learned on that one. Norman at Combine. Hey, Matt, are the Glue guys groupies kicking around from the last post-game show? Your face was classic. No, they're not here at this moment. In the very last Kick Green and Gold post-game show last season, these three people just were hugging Jay and I can't remember fully what happened, but they just interrupted the show. And
I remember going back and watching that.
She came on camera. This one person came
Really?
on camera.
I was here that day.
And I had to actually just at one point just looking go away. I need you to leave. And there was a lot happening. There was we had 3 or 4 different interruptions from different people, and it was something else. It was a perfect way to end that Elks season. I will say that. It just
Chaos.
summed up the Elks season. Yeah, that's how it was.
And Big Uke's been a regular ever since. I mean,
Does anyone have any other final thoughts when it comes to, at least for today, on the Stanley Cup Final?
Is the media day for the Stanley Cup Final today?
It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious to see because I think every guy gets interviewed on each team. So I like to watch those and see the whole event. It's gonna be at Rogers, I'd imagine.
At Rogers,
so-
yeah. They have a weird, I don't know what happened with this conference or whatever, but the media hotel for games 1 and 2 is right by our studios instead of right downtown. But yeah, it's kind of jumbled up for the first couple games.
Yeah. Well,
But media day at the rink tomorrow. It's the big one.
that'd be good.
Yep.
That'd be fun to watch.
Be down there.
final thoughts. I don't know, Matty. It's let's get going. Really, I'm just excited to get to it and start to watch it. I'm really
only have 2
intrigued by
days.
a lot of the matchups, and I'm curious how the goaltending battle will go. I'm curious how that special teams battle will go. I'm curious how that third line battle will go. Yeah, I'm curious how Kane versus Tkachuk settles out.
That'd be good.
Let's just do it.
2 more days. 2 more days.
Isn't that crazy? It's like we've been waiting a few days, and we got 2 more.
2 more.
But at least it's not waiting until Saturday.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is a good point.
And then the cup final or the cup will be awarded by the 20th.
Yes.
Which is 4 days early.
Yeah, last year was the 24th.
It was the 24th, right?
And then the draft was like 3 days later, and then free agency was 5 days later, 4 days later. It was like,
And then people could breathe.
yeah.
No, so at the very least, it's the 20th this year. The cup will be handed out.
Speaking of teams of destiny, did you guys watch the Memorial Cup final?
Yeah.
I didn't, but I was sad that we didn't see it come back to the West.
Yeah, is that right?
It
Yeah.
was a pretty thorough London Knights victory.
Thorough is a very good word
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, they weren't going to lose 2 finals in a row, that's for sure.
Wow.
Well-coached team. It's like London once again,
sign
right?
of things to come.
NHL-ready players.
Yeah.
And Sam O'Reilly wins one at least.
Oh, there you go.
He was good last night, too. Cowan was good.
Cowan was really good. Cowan made some history.
What did he do again?
Well, I think back-to-back
It's a 3-point game.
MVPs.
Yeah.
He's now the leading London Knights scorer in Memorial Cup history.
That's right.
Tying Mitch Marner, a hero of his.
As he said.
Yeah, Toronto's got a good thing going on there.
Well, if they keep Marner. But
I hope not.
I didn't like the goal called back on McKenna, the second one,
No way.
where they said it was a hand pass, didn't they? But you could see it bounced off the dasher.
I thought it was a high stick.
Oh, did they go high stick? Because
High
they were
stick, I
talking about
think.
okay. I was watching and then I was doing something else and then I looked. I'm like, what were they saying that was a hand pass? So
I think he got it with the high stick when he was spinning around.
Okay.
And then when they reviewed it, they got that and pulled it back. But
how can the CHL refs see that and not the NHL refs from a few years ago talking about Gabe Villardi? I'm just
he didn't have a black eye like Rooney.
ooh.
He's squinting out of
Yeah.
one of his eyes.
Yeah. Anyways,
Anyways,
It
really good game.
thorough victory for
Yeah.
London. They were excellent in that
Yeah.
game. So yeah, Sam O'Reilly was good. I thought he made some really nice plays. Actually, Cowan had that 1 goal called back too
Yeah.
on O'Reilly and the
That's right.
the interference, and even that I
That
was
was odd,
like,
yeah.
but yeah, and he made a nice play to Cowan.
That was just such a big goal by McKenna when he scored it. Like that game would have actually went 4-2 at that point.
yeah.
Like that could have turned momentum.
and he was starting to heat up.
Exactly. He had both goals for their team.
Mm-hmm.
And what a treat to watch that kid, though.
Yeah.
It's crazy we have to wait a whole another year before he's NHL eligible.
People in the States will be able to see him a lot more often.
Michigan,
Just an inkling.
yeah,
No. Yeah.
Michigan? Is that the?
I don't know.
I saw a rumor. Yeah, it looks like Michigan, but I don't know.
And-
A lot of guys.
Go
he's
play
gonna
in
get
Europe.
paid.
He's
As
going
good
to
as
get
Wolverine.
paid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To do what Austin Matthews did in Europe.
could do that too.
Yeah.
Probably-
Except you
definitely
probably
good
can make more money in the States maybe than Europe now.
Think so?
But then he'd have
With
to go to
NIL?
school.
Right. That's
That's a
just
true
it.
good point.
That's just it. You want to go play hockey or do you want to be a student and a hockey player? He's first overall pick guaranteed no matter what. So
Yeah, but then the one part that actually would be fun about being a student is the student life.
Yeah.
You know, you do get there's go watch some Wolverines football games.
yeah,
Go be around that
the
campus life
man
and
on
enjoy
campus.
meet his future wife.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Not, you wouldn't be
couple of them.
man. You'd be like you're after the football team.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, sure.
The world's his
Okay,
oyster.
Tommy, a couple,
Lock it down.
couple of future wives.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Couple.
Heartbreaker, man.
Extend
Never
the
know when
roster
you're going to
a
meet a
little
new
bit.
girl walking
Yeah.
out the door, Tommy.
That's right.
But yeah, going to Ann Arbor, it'd be fun. But yeah, Europe would also be.
Yeah.
I think when you're younger, you'd maybe look at the college, even though you have to go to school. The parties would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Than going to hang out with the pros and
And do an après ski on the hill.
then some have families though, and
That's
I bet
true.
it's a little bit different. When you're younger, you probably want to.
And the American school system's a lot easier too.
I'm sure there's ways around it.
I have a couple of friends that are in the NCAA, and schooling is not very hard for them down there. So I'm sure Gavin McKenna would
Hockey's
be,
one
would
of his
be good.
courses he's taking.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
What did Matt Liner took ballroom dance, didn't he?
Did he?
Isn't that this?
All right.
He came back for 1 year,
Basket weaving,
and I
ballroom
thought
dance,
it was like
Yeah.
dancing.
throwing
Advanced-
a football through a tire,
Advanced knitting.
Matt Liner
and wins the Heisman.
Yeah.
dance.
I mean, any guy that's playing youth sports right now in Canada, I think would it's a no-brainer. If you get the invite, obviously go to NCAA. Just schooling wise, like
Well, we should be hearing about those guys taking off to the NCAA
Should
soon,
be.
shouldn't we?
Yeah,
Should be.
pretty soon. You
Yeah.
think McKenna translate to the NHL? I mean, he's
Yeah.
going to some
Yeah.
extent,
I think
obviously,
so.
right?
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or is it a bit of a Bedard where there's a bit of a Joe Thornton?
he's a
where you
little
need 2 or 3
taller.
years?
He's a little taller but lanky, so
Yeah.
probably put on a little bit more muscle. But he's
Doesn't exactly have the speed either.
No,
right?
no, but his shot,
Clever as hell.
IQ, and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, yeah.
So Matt Leinart returned for his 5th year with USC. Took one class. It was ballroom dancing.
That's all you need, baby.
So
That's incredible.
he had to go dance and then go play some football.
You only need to take one course.
He was enrolled in school.
His agility probably improved.
Yeah.
He was enrolled in school.
Take 3 classes or something.
And probably because he's 5th year, so he probably did whatever he needed to in the first ones, and then he just needed the one program. There's a guy, I don't know if he's playing this year. He was going into his 9th season of college football last year.
Oh, right. He was COVID affected and was injured a whole bunch, and it kept his eligibility open, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember reading about that guy.
Those are estranged rules.
He was like 28.
After suffering multiple season-ending injuries requiring surgeries and 1 extra year of COVID eligibility, Cam McCormick of my Miami Hurricanes now was granted his 9th year of NCAA eligibility through the 2024 season. He's thought to be the first football player to have been granted such eligibility. I don't know when he's ineligible, though, now. He announced his return play for the 2024 season. So, yeah, that might have been his last year. He only started in 1 game, though. Played in 13 of them, though. So, some guys, I love hearing those stories because they were just absolutely ridiculous. The official drink of the EST Hangout is the Finnish long drink, legend of 1952, a drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment. Real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada is where you can enter your postal code and find a liquor store and establishment nearest you with the long drink in stock. And if you're off to Rogers Place on Wednesday night or Friday night, they have the partnership with OEG. You could pick up the long drink down at Rogers Place. Let's get to Hangout Headlines, which is brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. Book your tee time by visiting the ranchgolf.com. They're in fantastic shape, as they always are in, so you'll be wanting to go golf at the Ranch. Elks, did want to talk about them quickly. The Ranch, proud supporters of the Edmonton Elks as well. Before we get to the cuts, Friday night tailgate. I got to go. That's fun.
It was great.
That's a fun spot.
It was a lot of fun.
I highly recommend getting to the tailgate. I thought it was going to be a lot quieter, too, because it was preseason. It was pretty bumping.
It was.
It was
There
great.
some empty stalls, but yeah, it was for a preseason game. Got to see a lot of people have a beverage or two. It was lovely.
Sluice juice?
I had some sluice juice.
I didn't see Jerry.
I
had some sluice
I
juice
got
ready to
pretty
go.
fired up
Ah.
from that hangout that we had about the tailgates and stuff when we had Jerry and blanking
Dave.
Dave.
Dave in
So
Section T.
yeah. So my buddy that got season tickets there, I'm like, hey, when I'm there, we're going tailgate.
Yes,
before.
you are.
So that'll be
Dave
good.
in Section T walked by his. He was handing out burgers. He had his burger banner up. Next to him was listener Jason. Jason and Andrew had a different spot.
Saw Jay and Andrew.
Scout had their spot. Turf District had their spot.
Yeah.
I was just walking. There was just all sorts of different people there.
Yeah.
Chris Dixon, he was there. I saw him because all of a sudden I saw a guy with the green and gold EST hat. I'm like, who is that? And I forgot his name, but he was in our fun spiel. But it was a lot of fun. There was a lot going on.
Yes,
in
there
that,
was.
in that tailgate, and I do highly
VR
recommend
Montenegro.
it. VR, I ran into him because he was getting a burger from Coach Dave.
Ah.
Dave in Section T. He was there grabbing his burger. It was, it's wild that you go there and you're like, oh yeah, there's a football game we got to go to. And then you go to a football game, and then Gager gave me a smoky and he got me some dogs. Did you get anything from Gager?
He made a grilled chicken sandwich for me.
Oh, grilled chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I
Nice.
bought him a beer too, so kind of evened out. Saw Mooner.
Mooner was there? I didn't see him there.
T-Hop. Yep.
I ran into Mooner at the farmer's market
Oh, wow.
on Saturday night.
Saturday.
Afternoon. Yeah, the tailgate. I highly recommend going and check it out. If you have any time this year through any of the seasons or any of the games, there's 9 of them this season. Go to the tailgate. It is a lot of fun. It's a great time. I don't know if you've ever been.
Nope.
No, it's
awesome.
It's a great little thing, and VR got his tickets where Belzy's got his tickets in the standing area, which worked out to be like $15 a game for him. But it's just the tailgate area. It's just a very good community, and it's a blast. So
I'll
anyone
try it out.
that
There's
wants
no
to go
doubt.
to the Elks this year, go. If you're going to a game, it's open 3 hours beforehand. Go check that out at some point prior to that. Alex Holland's getting cut, though, by the Edmonton Elks. That was the big surprise that we saw. Apparently injury still a little bit of a factor, and there was a couple of other receivers that Ed is a big fan of. I missed Ed on the morning show this morning, so I'm going to have to go back and listen to LTE and Dave with him. But beyond, like, the bigger surprise actually around the Canadian Football League, Kadeem Carey getting cut in Toronto.
Yes.
And Walter Fletcher getting cut in Montreal.
Yeah.
And also Kevin Brown was cut by Toronto too. So we'll see where those guys potentially pop up. But it's the start of the Canadian Football League season.
Yep.
I thought Trey Ford was efficient in his time the other night. Fajardo had that bad pick.
Trey had a pick.
Was it
Trey had a pick,
Trey had
too.
the pick?
Trey had the pick.
Fajardo
Fajardo
had
had
the
a
Did
pick, though.
Ford have a pick? Did he have a pick too?
Yeah.
Did I miss
It was
that?
in the third quarter, I
I
think.
might have missed that one.
Yeah.
Trey's pick wasn't a good decision, but on the opening drive for the Elks when they scored a touchdown, he threw an unbelievable throw to Dunbar. There was 4 defenders of the Lions, and Dunbar got in the middle of them.
Yes.
And Trey dropped it right to him.
Yep.
And it was a perfect throw. It was a great drive. The running situation looked good, Rankin and Leak.
Yep.
I don't right
Dunbar
now.
looks
I don't
good.
see Smitty the Welder ripping on the Elks losing for that game. He was all in from the loss to the Calgary Stampeders and saying what would happen if they lose this game against the BC Lions. And when Big Yukon and I were trying to explain just what happened, he just went, "Those are excuses." But
Well, they won.
waiting to see the comments on those ones, Smitty, on the fact that they beat the BC Lions this past weekend. I still stand by. I think they could fight for a home playoff spot.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's where they are. Like I think
They've retooled enough.
I believe that they have, and it was a discussion I had with someone in the tailgate too. Is that I do believe this team could start 0-3 still. I stand by that and still win like 10 games.
Well, we went through it with.
Maybe it was on Friday then.
We did. Remember, we
Yeah.
went game by game?
Yes.
BC, Montreal, Winnipeg to
But
start.
then the other part to that is, what if they did win 1 or 2 to start in that tough stretch that I believe they have at the opening? They're
Winnipeg's
definitely going to host a playoff game at that point. They might
Winnipeg's
be in the
the key game
conversation for the West
Yeah.
to win the West at that point, which is a little ridiculous to think.
It feels like everybody thinks, every Western city thinks that it can win the West this year.
kind of can.
Well,
Not
like
Calgary.
Saskatchewan thinks it can win the West. Winnipeg's the reigning
Mm-hmm.
West champs, obviously. Edmonton thinks it can make a run for it. Maybe Calgary's the one where you're
Smells like
yeah,
cabbage. Yeah.
It does smell like cat. Just a
I actually
fine
have-
hint of it.
I have more faith in Calgary than BC.
Yeah, I don't like
I don't really.
some of the Lions' makeup.
Why?
I don't like the BC defense. I don't think they added to their defense unless there's names that I'm not familiar with. I don't think they're a better defense, and they weren't a solid defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense can only take you so far. You need to stop. And
Yeah.
I like what Calgary actually kind of did with VA. They brought him a couple of weapons. They still had Reggie Beggleton, but they brought in Tevin Jones.
Tevin
They brought
Jones
in
was good
Dominic
last year.
Rhymes. There are just some players there. Couple of defense. I think Moncrief is there on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Calgary taking a little bit of step forward, and BC. It's like I could see Nathan Rourke being great. I could see the offense being solid. I don't like their defense, and I'm just not sold on Mike Benavides' defense.
Is
either.
it an average defense or is it a bad defense? Like I think
It was average
to
last
above
year,
average defense.
but they lost
still.
players.
Yeah.
That's the thing. To me, they were about
I
an
have to go
average
look at how
defense
they
last
retooled.
year, and I feel like they got worse. So are you going to – and Mike Benavides is a guy that he does a bend-don't-break defense. It's not an aggressive defense.
Yeah.
It's not an attacking defense. And that's who the defensive coordinator is because they also made a switch there where Ryan Phillips got demoted and Benavides got promoted. And are they going to have recovered? Last year it was clear that the VA Nathan Rourke situation messed that locker room.
Yeah.
And now we all knew that there would be the change in the offseason with VA going.
Here we are.
But are they in the right spot as a defense or as a group inside that locker room to be ready to go for the season? So I actually like Calgary a little more than BC. Now watch, BC's going to go rattle off 5 straight and be in a position and go win the West. After I say all those
That
things.
could happen. Scary scene when David Foucault got hurt the other day.
Yeah. Did you see what happened? at all?
I think he just got caught up on the line, but they had to go, like the refs and Dan, the Elks equipment guy, had to run on the field and spray like water on the field. There must have been blood. And they grabbed towels. I haven't seen that before, just to clean it up. I feel horrible for him. So, but they had to
Edmonton
take him
Elk?
off on a stretcher. Yeah, signed with BC in the offseason after the Elks released him, and
Did they say what the injury was after?
I think it was his ankle. They were saying, but it did not look
Compound
good.
fracture.
I don't. There was blood on there.
Yeah.
It was on a stretcher left.
And like right away, Nathan Rourke's like, "Let's go, trainers!" And you see them run in, and the Elks trainers ran. Athletic therapist team Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, I never like seeing that. Doesn't matter who.
No.
This is an interesting one. The Detroit Lions center Frank Ragnow, 4-time Pro Bowler, announced his retirement on social media today. He's only 29.
Wow. Too many hits
Hits
to the
head.
head.
Yep.
It said he has a history of serious toe injuries.
Oh.
Missing 13 games in
Oh, wow.
2021 with what he called the most severe degree of turf toe, and then a separate injury to the same toe early in 2022 season. Played through it, called it one of the toughest years of his career. In 2023, he told Detroit Free Press that the toe injury has gotten to a point where surgery wouldn't help, and it was just something he was going to have to navigate for the rest of his career. But
We're
losing your
seeing more
center at
football
this
guys.
point,
Yeah.
that's not an easy time to go replace a center.
Yeah.
When you're in the National Football League, his training camps there open up 6 weeks or so.
Yeah. Because they just had OTAs last week,
Yeah.
right?
Didn't Hollins go to Detroit? Is Holland
Which
What?
Hollins?
the Elks receiver?
Alex Hollins?
Yeah.
Did he come from Detroit?
I thought he was property of the Lions or something.
Was he with Minnesota for a bit, too?
I see a picture of Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
Did he go? Was he with the Lions? No, Vikings, Browns. Then was a BC Lion, and Wikipedia still hasn't updated that he's in Edmonton because he's no longer in Edmonton.
Well, he's not.
I really wanted him around. He was he was a great personality.
That was a bit surprising, but if there's other guys at a better price point, then
Yeah, him, Marcus Lewis, and who was the other? Jacob Plamondon. Those are probably the big name cuts. Victor Blanchard, though, they're going with him as the kicker.
yeah, because they got rid of was it Harvison?
Yeah. So
That they just brought in last week.
they're going to see what Blanchard could do. He's going to have to be better. I will say that he missed an extra point on Friday.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there's the Rouge in football because they got that point back.
I'm not saying anything.
But yeah, so that will be the big thing for me, kicking. What's going to happen there? If Blanchard struggles, I guess they have that other guy close.
Yeah.
It'd be my assumption when it comes to that. But we will see. So yeah, it was good to be at that game, and it was good. It wasn't that windy
No, it
on
wasn't.
Friday, so I was able to enjoy that game. Tomorrow, the Edmonton Riverhawks get going here in the city of Edmonton. It's Toonie Tuesday. It's just, it's going to be a fun time. And then Festival City starts going very, very soon here.
D-Rex texting in says, guys, you should mention the new loge seating at the bottom of the upper deck. Did you notice that?
Yes, I think Scout and Catherine from the Elks Herd got tickets there.
Did they?
So for
It
those
looked nice.
on the west side of Commonwealth, they put up some loge seats and tents as you come up to the upper concourse,
Yeah.
or the upper deck.
Yeah.
They've set up spots. So many people want to get to the upper deck, and they now apparently have some seating there. So for those few people that can buy those tickets, there will be a select few that are going to be able to purchase upper deck, upper bowl seats. And talking to Mooner about it on Saturday, quickly, like there's nothing that the Elks turned into revenue. It's just concrete sitting there that you weren't selling, and now you've turned a little bit into a premium area. So
It would be a great spot to watch because everybody that was in the upper deck always like being like, oh, I was on an aisle in the upper deck and I was only like a row or two up and it was perfect. I can run down to the concessions or the restrooms. Now those are all loge seats. Well, and the Elks have tried. They did the on-the-field loge seats, which Hernan hooked up for me one time a couple of years ago.
I was about to ask about that.
It was awesome.
Like those look cool.
It was a great view of the game, but you didn't see the scoreboard, and then the game came at you fast, and like if you had to pay attention when the ball was close to that north end zone because you're like, oh, these guys could end up in my loge and spilling the whole table.
How many packs of Marlboros did that cost you?
At least a couple of cartons. Yeah, I had to go down to Montana.
yeah, so it looks like cool little spots. I will say that. So we'll see. I don't know how those are getting sold or whatever. But yeah, there's a couple of some people each game will be able to be sitting in the very sought after upper deck, which I know a lot of people want to get back up there.
Wow.
So yeah, I'll have to get a review from Scout and Catherine at some point of what they thought of it was up there. I think actually Hernan went up there after because his nephew was there.
Ah.
And
I heard Hernan was having a good time.
Yeah, we went out for drinks after.
You did?
Yeah, Luciano, there was karaoke. We went to Rosario's.
Oh, my.
And there was karaoke. Luciano went up there and sang La Bamba.
Of course.
He was having a really good time with it too.
Why wouldn't he?
He thinks he did better than Hernan.
I
There he is.
highly doubt that.
Yeah, it's
Like
hard to beat
sunglasses
Hernan.
on.
He was all into
He
it.
had a great time too, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while, so it was good seeing him. He's back in town. I didn't know that.
Good. Yeah, because he works out of town, right?
He's back now full time.
Oh, good.
yeah,
That's good.
I'm actually gonna get him on the Hangout.
I think he would like that.
He'd be fantastic. But we didn't get him on the Hangout prior to this past Saturday, where it was Champions League final. For anyone that cares about that, PSG dominating Inter to be the champs of Europe. They couldn't do it with Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, all-star teams. All those guys leave. PSG now champs. So there's your story. You don't have to spend money to win in soccer. Wow, they spent a lot. Any Champions League thoughts from the panel up here?
Dave Matisse's pick at Finger Lakes for race 9 is Johnny's in charge.
Great pick, Dave.
That's my thoughts on
Big Stable and Jessica L. Nash. Or
Jessica
Brig
L.
Sta-
Nash. I'm
Oh,
glad
that's
that
the
horse-
owner. That's
Yeah.
the owner. Sadie War Lady's been scratched in race 5
Oh,
at Finger
no.
Lakes.
It's probably Sadie War Lady. Just saying.
I like
Thank
Foxy
you.
Joyce.
Oh, no. No.
It comes back.
Finger Lakes.
Oh, we almost lost
Oh.
Finger Lakes here. We're 15 minutes for post, which means as the lock shop gets going,
You'll be watching.
we could get going. I should just get
Open
I
up
should
the lock
get-
shop. Like, yeah,
I should
the
just get
picks in.
Huss and Huss to give like blind picks for horse races and do them live on the lock shop.
Yes,
Oh,
you
God.
should. Yes, you absolutely should.
The machine's right there. Just, hey, Huss, you tell me who to get.
Yeah.
I'll go run over. You
Punch
talk
it
a little
in.
bit. I'll come
Awesome.
back. And honestly, I just have to ask Huss, how's your weekend? And he'll talk for 20 minutes.
You got to stay on the air. I can go make his bets for him if you want. Or I don't know. Maybe Benny's
I'm
better.
on.
Yeah.
Benny's better with
I
us.
think I'll have to do, because I'm hosting the lock shop this week for Dusty.
Yeah.
I think I will have to do at least one bet of a horse race during the lock shop.
A little sprinkle.
Has to.
Has to.
Like, what's the point of hosting the lock shop where the horse track machine, the betting machine is
Right
right there, and the screens are all in front of me if I
Literally.
don't bet on Finger Lakes?
Great track.
I could reach that
Fast
with Dusty's
today.
arm.
Jay's already texted me, any grays? I don't know yet. But if I see that gray, Jay, I've learned from you. I don't even care if I'm mid-sentence.
Gray
Headset
horses.
coming off, I'm betting on that gray. Last
Love
year
it.
there was a race where we saw 2 grays. Like Jay and I were at the machines, we're betting on 1 gray. He's like, there's a gray. I was like, yeah, no, that's the horse we're betting on. He's like, no, it's a different one.
I
The
went to
horses went 1-2.
Wow.
Jay had a very good day that day. Let me just say that.
I went to the horse track with a friend one time in our industry. It was actually an industry event. And he, there's the old Northlands where you could watch them kind of trot around before they go out. And he would bet on whichever horse took a dump before it would run.
Really?
And he made money that day, let's just say that.
Running light?
Well, yeah, that actually, I feel like
Makes
there's
sense.
something to that.
Makes sense.
Kate,
Okay.
we've got the parade of the first tour race. Looking for any grays, Jay. At this moment, I have not seen a gray.
No.
Not yet.
No.
Speaking of races, Tommy, did you watch the F1?
I caught some of it. I actually watched Indy yesterday.
Oh, is that
What'd you
right?
make of it?
Oddly enough.
Because Hernan
was-
loves it.
Max
It was-
Verstappen had another temper tantrum.
Yeah, he did. I think Gager was like, my God, Max is a baby.
Like,
Yeah.
go look at his post-game or his
He just-
post-race interviews.
yeah.
Like, he's such a DIC.
Well, he
kid.
was, after Monaco, he was complaining. He's like, what do you compare it to? He's like, you could do Mario Bros. And us throwing bananas out there and it won't change the race. Like, what else can you do with it? And I get it. But, yeah, no, I watched more of the Indy. The Indy was fine. There was a huge crash that kind of kept things at bay for a while. But I've definitely gone full
Yeah.
F1.
Well, Max was running into guys on purpose. He got his 11th penalty of the year. Can't get a penalty next race, or else he's out of the.
Yeah.
Gets the one-game
Gets-
deduction on the championship.
Tough season for him.
And he threw everybody else under the bus.
Of course.
He always does.
My car's not fast enough, and they
He
didn't,
never
they
takes
didn't keep soft
responsibilities.
enough tires. And
That's too bad.
Okay,
I used to really like him. Now I'm just like,
Did you?
Yeah, I'm a big Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. I like that. They always seem like
Yeah.
good dudes.
I feel a little bad for like Lando Norris. Like this should have
yeah.
been the year for him
Yeah.
to go win his title,
Oscar's just a
but
beast,
Oscar's
though.
just taking over.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, Smitty the Welder. Great job in the Elks winning on Friday night. Yay. I'm glad you care about this preseason game, Maddie. No. You don't get to start downplaying preseason. I don't care about preseason, Smitty the Welder, but you cared about preseason first. You're the one bad-mouthing the Elks from last weekend. And anytime Big Uke and I just were explaining why they didn't score a touchdown in that game against Calgary, you said, oh, it's just what are you going to make for the excuse on Friday? Well, now they won. You've got to eat some crow on that one. Deal with it. You're the one that made this a big deal. That's on you. I don't care about preseason. You cared about preseason.
Yeah.
You started that. If you didn't say anything about the Elks losing to the Calgary Stampeders, nothing would have happened. But you continued on that and said, well, what's going to happen if they lose to BC? What are you going to say then? Well, they didn't. Just as Big Uke and I said, there were reasons to why they lost to the Stampeders. So you got to deal with that. You got to deal with it. You can't just be like, oh, God, you care about preseason. Own up to it, Smitty. Own up to this.
Go weld something.
Yeah.
Nah, we can't hear it. Nah.
What are we, oh, no. So my board, well, the Hangout board, this is all the stuff from the main studio.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have the preset stuff. Like, so Tommy's board has
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah, it does.
Which one were you trying to go for?
I was trying to click. Is it like a wow scale? There's some.
Oh, you could just press.
Oh, right.
Hot take.
Oh,
That's a hot take.
that's a hot,
Exactly.
oh, that's a
There
hot
you go.
take one. What's this?
Why don't you give me half the money you were going to bet? And we'll go out back, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
That's Wallace Shawn from Vegas Vacation.
Spinny back. You don't get to upgrade preseason either. I'm not, but you did. So you've got to deal with it. That's all I'm saying. You've got to deal with the fact that you were wrong in this one.
I love it. It's getting spicy.
Boom. Boom. Well, I just want a gray. Not going to lie. I'm
No
just waiting
grays.
for a gray, and I
They're
haven't
all
seen a
brown
gray yet.
horses, yeah.
But we now have we have horses racing at Pennsylvania.
We've got Jim Bavilla.
He's the track announcer,
Yeah.
and he's ready
Oh,
to
yeah.
go. That must be a fun job.
Pocono Downs
First call
at the Mohegan.
in Pennsylvania.
Jay just texted me, focus, Matt. Any grays?
No grays.
Don't worry,
I'm
Jay.
watching.
I am
I've been watching.
focused.
I've been watching.
I am
Jay.
focused.
grays.
We've just got a few more minutes left here on the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage and a clear choice for Edmonton Sports, Edmonton Sports Stock. A reminder, Lock Shop coming up next. Myself and Huss will be on. We've got Oil Stream today, Reed and Tommy. We got EST Afternoons. We got the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. That's all to come until 6 o'clock. Later tonight, we will have MCTV on our audio stream as well as the Pipeline Show. Guy will be on, although the show is from Saturday as it's a replay. So he'll probably be previewing a little bit of the Memorial Cup with that one ended. So that kind of
We'll
happens.
survive.
Dash, you guys got a show coming up?
Yeah,
Thursday.
we've been going more often than normal. Yeah, we've went from Wednesday nights to kind of just filling in whenever we can. The season or the series starting on Wednesday, we're going to go Thursday. So, yeah, tune into EST or Heavy Hockey on YouTube, and you can join our version of our nasty chat and come watch us on Oilers Live.
Beautiful.
Sure. Okay, we've still got shows to do this week on EST, like the Hangouts and stuff. Do you want to give a prediction? Because you'll be on after Game 1 on Oilers Live. What's your prediction for this series?
Series or Game 1?
Do both.
I think we lose Game 1 because that's just what we do, and that's where we're comfortable. Maybe the overwhelming of being in the Stanley Cup Finals kicks in just a little bit. Let's go with like a nice 4-3 Panthers in Game 1, and the Oilers take it in Game 7 back in Edmonton.
Ooh. That's a Friday night? I think that's a Friday night.
That's
That's a Friday.
that is a Friday night. Yep.
Do you got a Game 1 prediction?
I've predicted that the Oilers will lose in each Game 1 all the way up until this point. So I'm going to stick on trend, and I'm going to say Panthers win. I'm going to say there's a little bit of scare in Oil Country. I'm going to say it's 5-2 and Kachuk with 2 goals, and the post-game show is like, this team of destiny, BS. Like this team's done. And then they'll prove them wrong. Game 2, it'll be all fine. So I'll say yeah, like 5-2 Panthers or something. Hoping I'm wrong, but
Tommy, you're going to practice?
I'm headed to the rink. Yep.
We haven't talked about it all show, so I'll just get any worry about Connor McDavid with yesterday.
Sure. Until we see how he does or how he handles things today, the team should be on the ice, actually getting on the ice right about now. And I'm sure we'll get a bit of an update. If he is a full participant and looks okay, then that little bit of concern goes away. Yeah, I mean, anytime he goes off the ice early and has to talk to like TD Force or any of the athletic therapists, then there's a bit of a concern, especially this time of year. But if he's all right, looks good today, then no worries.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for coming to Century and Celly Sports Bar. Thanks to Renee.
Thank you,
From
Renee.
Century, who got us in. I think she had to come to work a little early
Gave
to let
us
us
coffee.
in. So thank you to Renee for that as well.
And for putting up with Savage. Let's just throw that out there.
Congratulations to Savage and Renee.
Round of clicks for them as well. As I said, Lock Shop coming up. We've got Oilstream, we've got EST Afternoons, we've got the Reed Wilkins Show. Thanks to everyone for tuning into the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage and your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, Edmonton Sports Stock, and EST proudly presented by Play Alberta. On behalf of Dash, Benny, Tommy, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Hangout. Lock Shop with myself and Huss coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us today.